Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse this brief interruption, but I have to tell you about a very cool and interactive way that you can experience the show. I'm talking about how you can chime in on the live show broadcast at your convenience using the Buy Me a Coffee app on your phone. You might be asking, what the heck is Buy Me a Coffee? Well, it's a fun and easy way that you can tip the show during our live broadcast or even later at buymeacoffee.com/dangerousinfopodcast. I also have that link listed down below in the description. Now get this, when you see the Buy Me a Coffee banner show up on the screen when you're watching the show, it's got the logo and all that, that is the time when you can send your tip. But here's the fun part. It happens instantaneously and your message will just pop up on the screen along with a little audio message that I have preloaded. It might be a rooster crowing, a crazy dog bark, or a hilarious audio clip that I ended up finding along the way. So your interaction will hit us by surprise, and you, along with the other live viewers, will enjoy a laugh by what you just did. And if that isn't enough, I just learned that on the audio playback on the screen in your car, you will also get a fun alert scrolling across the radio. Yeah, that's crazy. But be careful driving is what I'm saying. All right, now let's get you back to the show, and I look forward to seeing your surprise pop up unexpectedly so you can scare Outcast and make us laugh. All right, you guys, stay dangerous by hitting us with the most interactive message. Now let's get back to the show.
Our institutions have become corrupt. Unconstitutional agencies are infringing on your rights. Your liberty was secured by strong men and women of yesterday. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We live in the age of disinformation and corporate propaganda. You're an American, born with unalienable rights. Yet those rights are being trampled every day by unelected busybodies. Welcome to the Dangerous Info Podcast with Jaymz and Outcast. Dangerous. Stay blessed in the battle.
Are you familiar with the hantavirus, Agent Mulder?
Yeah, it was a deadly virus spread by field mice in the southwestern United States several years ago.
According to the newspaper, FEMA was called out to manage an outbreak of the hantavirus. Are you familiar with what the Federal Emergency Management Agency's real power is? FEMA allows the White House to suspend constitutional government upon declaration of a national emergency. Think about that. What is an agency with such broad sweeping power doing managing a small viral outbreak in suburban Texas?
You're saying it wasn't such a small outbreak?
No. I'm saying it wasn't the hantavirus.
Well, what was it? What was it?
When we were young men in the military, your father and I were recruited for a project. They told us it was biological warfare, a virus.
What killed those men?
What killed them, I won't even write about. We have no context for what killed those men, or any appreciation of the scale at which it'll be unleashed in the future.
A plague?
A plague to end all plagues, Agent Mulder. A silent weapon for a quiet war. The systematic release of an indiscriminate organism for which the men who will bring it on still have no cure. They've been working on this for 50 years. While the rest of the world have been fighting crooks and commies, these men have been secretly negotiating a planned Armageddon.
Negotiating with whom?
I think you know. The timetable has been set. It'll happen on a holiday when people are away from their homes. The president will declare a state of emergency, at which time all government, all federal agencies will come under the power of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, the secret government.
Call me paranoid.
Go back to Dallas, Agent Mulder, and dig. Or we're going to find out along with the rest of the country. When it's too late.
If you're still listening to the mainstream media, you're probably the same person I laughed at today, driving alone in your car, wearing a mask. Wake up, Normie. The depopulation is real. You're listening to Jesse, James, and Outcast right here on the Dangerous Info Podcast. Oh, good Lord.
Yes, everybody. It is another Monday night. That's right, you guys. May 11th, Monday, 2026, Outcast. Welcome to the spiritual and the cultural battle of our lives, where truth is dangerous, and yes, information is a weapon. This is the Dangerous Info Podcast. The underground bunker is what I'm talking about. I am Jesse James, and he is Outcast, and Christ is King. Brother Outcast, what we are about to play tonight, it's going to be a lot. It's going to fill a lot of holes. What I'm talking about. Our guest has been from the show. He has not been here in a long time, but people will remember the name J.C. Hall. He's coming up with us today in just a little bit here, talking about a redirected focus, and I think a little bit more of we're going to be able to get into some really cool stuff that we like to talk about all the time. Some fantastical stuff, right? Some biblical, some fun things. So there's going to be a lot coming tonight, you guys. We're talking about purpose-driven personal growth and a bit of emergency preparedness in the mix of all this stuff while we visit with J.C. Hall tonight, episode 269, a redirected focus, Outcast. So listen, I see everybody in the chat rooms. Welcome, everybody. Have a seat, pull yourself up, make sure your bunker door is locked behind you, and have a good time while you warm up your coffee and your tea and whatever you're drinking. So, Brother Outcast, what is going on? Are you blessed in the battle tonight?
I am exactly that. I am blessed in the battle. Yes, sir. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Well, listen, there's so much going on, just like always, man. There's always so much going on, and we never can touch everything on every show, right? We have a whole list of stuff that we want to talk about, but it always seems like we leave gold on the table, and that's not our fault. Time gets away from us, so that's just how it is. So hello to everybody out there. I see you guys are all packing in. What's going on, everybody? Yes, it has been a long time since we've seen JC here, so we welcome him tonight. So we'll get to him shortly, Outcast. There's a few things I want to show people we're going to talk about, whether with him or without, but shout out where you guys are at right now. I want to see where everybody's coming from. So please give us a roll call. Where you guys at? And I'll put it up on the chat. Mother's Day, Outcast. We had Mother's Day yesterday, and I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, all the wives. Hope you had a great day, right? I was able to sneak over to my mom's house and put a pot, big flower pot on the patio and scurry away. That way there's a nice little, surprise, and made some steaks here last night at home. For the wife, and had some more flowers and did a lot of work around the house. Got a lot of stuff in order. So just happy Mother's Day to everybody, to all the mothers out there.
Thank you for saying that, Jesse. That's good. Yeah, because every mother out there, God bless you. It's I can only imagine how difficult it is to raise children these days, and even in the past. And for anybody out there who's missing their mother, maybe they're estranged from their mother, or they are their mother has passed. Bless you at this time. We know it's hard sometimes when you come across these holidays. But yes, thanks for saying that, Jesse.
And that's important too, Outcast. That's real important to say that, because, like you said, some people are missing people, and it's important to, on these days, at least think about them, right? Think about them. Tell their story to somebody a little bit here and there, and just remember them. Look at a picture, right? Something. I know I have a lot of pictures of my grandparents in a box that I need to put up somewhere. I need to put them up somewhere so I can see them all the time, so the kids can see them all the time. M. Farbo, what's going on from northern Alaska? Awesome up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Must be up there by the, go ahead.
I was just going to say, welcome to the party. That's cool. That's God's country up there, man.
Love it.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let me see here. What else do we have, Outcast? I definitely want to clown on the hantavirus, right? We need to do some clowning on that today. We need to talk about our emergency prep item, which I'm going to do in just a second here. We might even want to talk about this declassified UAP stuff. that they're trying to pull on us. Next week, we have something important is coming up. Well, depending on if it's on your radar. But next week, there's going to be a hearing, not a trial, a hearing against Tyler Robinson. All right, my gut feeling on this whole thing, Outcast, is that we are going to get flushed down the Las Vegas rabbit hole, just like they did with Las Vegas, okay? I think we're going to get the same kind of treatment with this story, the whole Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson. I think they're going to flush it down the memory hole with their narrative attached to it. Think about this, Outcast. If somebody's going to pull off something and do something big out there where they know it's going to be a big major event in the news cycle, right? Can there be a legal framework set up ahead of time before a crime is committed? Listen, before, to benefit a desired outcome is what I'm talking about. Okay. Talking about judges, prosecutors, DAs, legal teams, to control information and facts and omission of stories. I mean, I think that's possible. I think we've seen that in the past. I think that certain people can make things happen in a certain jurisdiction because they know that jurisdiction might be a little bit friendly to friendly or bought off, whatever you're thinking. It's crazy to think of, but next week there's going to be a hearing, not a trial. And we're going to watch the media run with a lot of stuff. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Outcast?
It's just going to be a clown show. I know we're not going to get any resolution. Things won't make sense, but nothing will be delved into deep enough. And we're going to walk away just like UFO disclosure. It's going to be partial and missing parts, and we're going to be gaslit again. It just doesn't, the clown show does not stop. It's just, the mask has fallen off of this whole system to those of us who are awake. And there's nothing they can do to convince us that anything's going to be done right or just.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Jesse? That's
for sure. Yep. Well, they're pros at it. They're seasoned vets at doing this kind of stuff. So
I think they're getting sloppy. Either they're getting sloppy, or we're getting really attuned to how they work, because nothing. Listen, man. I got one word for Charlie Kirk. I got one word. One term. 30-6.
Yes.
If that one part of this thing doesn't add up, is the 30-6 narrative that Charlie had a superhuman neck that a 30-6 couldn't go through. Super neck. Yeah, super neck, we'll call him. If you buy into that, boy, are you dumb, first of all. Second of all, if you can look at this and realize, well, that part doesn't make sense, then why are you believing any of the rest of it? The whole thing falls apart when you realize that a kid on a rooftop, who's, by the way, he's a kid, is not likely to be able to put a gun together that was in his backpack, mount the sight, have the sight be accurate, and then shoot him in the neck, and it doesn't react like a normal 30-6. It puts a little puncture in his neck and shoots his jugular out, as opposed to putting a billiard-size hole in his neck, which would have taken his head off. If you cannot see that one little detail is off, the whole thing comes in question in my mind. If you're believing the mainstream Turning Point USA narrative right now, but yet you are recognizing that a 30-6 would take his head off, what's wrong with you? Why can't you open your mind up to the rest of it? Are you brainwashed? Have you been drawn into a narrative and you can't think for yourself? Really look in the mirror and ask yourself, why can't I see the bigger picture here? Because it's obvious to the rest of us. Sorry, I'm venting. I apologize. I went off on a tangent.
That's all right. That's all right, brother. No, that's why I brought this up, just to get some, because this story's coming back. I think it faded a lot for some people because they've given us so many different narratives to mess with our heads. But this one's just coming back. And again, I just think we're going to get the Las Vegas treatment on it. At some point, the FBI is just going to close the book, say, that's it. No more questions. Peace. And I think that's how it's going to end up, which is crazy. But, Outcast, in this county that we're at, we're changing the subject, something that just happened. In the county that we're in, there was a gigantic water main break early, 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning, the morning of Mother's Day. All right. And this break was a leak on Friday. All the officials knew about it underground. They know where it's at. It broke on the most inconvenient day of the week, of the month, probably because of Mother's Day, and all the plans of the restaurants, the local businesses, everybody up and down the main road there, the M24. Yeah, you know, so the town next to me is what I'm saying is affected. The whole town that's next to us where I grew up, that's all. They can't use water, meaning no restaurants open right now. It was crazy. I did jobs up there this today, and to go up and down this busy stretch of a road for miles, and to see all these empty restaurants, coffee shops, all that stuff that sells water, or has water in their making of food and selling things. Either closed or have all these posters on the wall saying can't come in, don't drink the water. All the officials are going crazy. There's finger pointing going everywhere. The Great Lakes Water Authority, it's their pipe coming out of Detroit, comes up through Auburn Hills. It broke in Auburn Hills. Everything north of it, the towns next, north of it, they're all affected now. So luckily, I'm just outside of it. I'm on a well anyway, so that stuff's not going to affect me. But all those people that are, mostly businesses, are on city water over there. But there's still lots and lots of wells over there in that town. So, you're going to have pockets full of people that are doing okay because they're not hooked to the water main, right? So the officials are saying that it might be a couple of weeks. It might be, but listen, it's killing the downtown. The downtown's shut down because all the restaurants, the bars, the coffee shops, all that stuff, they're all shut down. People are panicking. Kind of like they did, with the scamdemic era, that we were all lied about. And
Sure.
I'm wondering if some of these businesses are not going to be able to make it in the next few weeks. And what kind of big term, who's going to be held liable? Is it going to be the Great Lakes Water Authority, the local township there where, because it's Great Lakes Water Authority's pipe, big 42-inch pipe. Been leaking for a long time. They've been watching it, but they never dug up to throw in a bypass. They could have done that. I think they could have done that. I don't know. I wasn't there on the ground, but listen, there's a lot of heavy equipment right here. We can dig holes very quickly around here. Okay. And throw bypasses in pipes and all this stuff. So we'll see who's lying, and we'll see who goes to court, and we'll see who gets sued, and we'll see what restaurants don't make it. But any thoughts to add in on that?
Couple thoughts for you. You're right. If this was left to the people, the citizenry, to be in charge of this themselves, they would have this fixed pronto. I just want to say that. Second of all, if we had, you might question 2 weeks is going to kill these businesses? Yeah, I hate to say this, but profit margins in the restaurant business are razor thin.
Yeah.
Their profits are as minimal as you can get in any type of business. So I would believe that wholeheartedly that this could destroy small businesses in the area. I just want to add something. It's kind of anecdotal, but true. I just had a conversation with a customer who bought a house. I don't know if I should say it or not. Can I say what city it was in our area?
Yep.
They're up in a very trendy town that used to be a quiet country town that's turned into quite a liberal hotspot and or a fun place to be because they've got a lot of great restaurants too. Sometimes those things go hand in hand a little bit. But it's the hometown of our good friend Jack Pine Savage, Fenton.
Oh yeah.
And she lived in a house that was over 100 years old, or maybe even older. This house is very old. It's been rebuilt several times. When they moved in, they immediately started having sewage backup and all kinds of issues. Well, they got sold a lemon. The previous owners pulled a fast one and had a friend of the family pass an inspection that wasn't legit. It's a big mess. But the scary part of the story is this. All the issues in their house comes from the water main in the middle of the street that is the city's responsibility. And they have a guy that's in charge of that municipality of the city water that calls himself, it's on his business card, the Bull. And if you do not use contractors that are his friends so he can get a kickback, he will gum up your entire project. He'll make sure that you can't get your stuff fixed. The corruption that this friend of mine encountered was staggering. A lot of grifting, a lot of people looking for, you have to be within their network, and then they have to admit responsibility. And then they won't admit responsibility. Long story short, this young couple who was on a shoestring budget, who bought a house and had a baby, are now on the hook for somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 to have their yard dug up when it's really the city's responsibility. Cities claiming that the water main in the middle of the street is a 6-inch pipe, when in reality, scopes and cameras have revealed that it's only a 3-inch pipe. Now they're seeing other people on their block. I guess the greater point is this. There's so much corruption in a lot of these cities. There's people just like this person I mentioned who won't let anything get done unless you go by them, and you have to tiptoe around them, and you have to use their contractors that they approve. And if you don't, they'll punish and impugn you. What kind of corruption is going on behind the scenes in Auburn Hills right now with this water main break? How easy is this fixed, and why is it not being fixed? And I mean, of course I don't know. These are hypotheticals, but this story I heard from my friend was chilling. It was disturbing how she was being treated by the city. Well, did I say too much?
No, it goes right hand in hand with this, because I think they could have been proactive versus being reactive. They knew about it. I know city officials or certain officials around here that were talking about this on Friday evening. That is just a trickle, and we're watching it. It's underground. It's kind of leaking. Right then, they could have had at least a bunch of crews come in, set up at nighttime, and all Saturday they could have dug, threw in a bypass, and nobody would have ever known. They could have taken care of that. All right. But I don't know, so far, I'm sure details are going to come out, but right now it just seems like they were being reactive instead of proactive on this. And it's affecting so many people. So again, it's going to come down to who owns that pipe. And I believe that's Great Lakes Water Authority. But it's, it happened in Auburn Hills, which is about 40 miles away from the original source down there, Detroit River. So it's crazy. It's going to be a good one to watch. It's not connected to anything up in Flint, so don't even think about that stuff. But Outcast, this brings me to our affiliate item of the week. One of them, all right, because we have a couple of them. And after we do this, we're going to get over to JC after our prayer. So you guys, this week, after talking about all this and the craziness going on, and a lot of people can't use their water, especially the businesses. It's going to be a while. We don't know how long it's going to be. But the item of the week, one of them this week, is the Life Straw. It's a personal water filter for hiking, camping, travel, and emergency preparedness. Outcast, you have a few of these. I have some of these. They are great, again, like I said, for emergency purposes. You can put them in your backpack, in your car, whatever it is. If you have to come up along something and get a drink, this is going to be one way to filter it. So again, that's our link. If you guys want to click on that, you can do that. And again, that's our affiliate link of the week. It's the Life Straw personal water filter. Outcast, what do you think about that? It's only like $15 or something, but it's very simple.
I love these things. I have them in every bug out bag that I've got. I do have a better water system, filtration system if things go haywire than that. But that's for home use. But if you're on the road, I mean, if you're somewhere and you're in a pinch for some water, man, that'll filter out everything. I think you could probably put that in a mud puddle and get some drinkable water through it.
Yeah, it says protects against 99.99999% of bacteria, including E. coli, salmonella, 99% of parasites, including Giardia and Cryptosporidium, 99% of microplastics, dirt, and sand, and cloudiness. Crazy. So it gets all that stuff. And look, our link is right there if you guys want to click on it. It's the link is right there. The affiliate item of the week is the Life Straw. So even if you're not in one of these, like I'm on a well, that stuff doesn't affect me, but I always have one of these because you never, ever really know when you might need water in emergency. Something happens. Hey, you got it covered. So again, check that out. Our affiliate item of the week, if you guys are interested in that. And if you want something like that, Music Lover says Life Straws are fine in moving water, but if a stagnant puddle has dysentery, it won't protect you, per Scoutmaster, whose kiddo got very sick. Yeah. Find a better puddle of water. Right.
Good to know. That's good. That's good info. Thank you, Music Lover. Man.
Yeah. Even a bucket.
I love it.
Yeah. Sorry. Yep. So, all right, Outcast, listen, we have to get a prayer from you. Let's bow our heads, and then we're going to get JC Hall in the show. So let's bow our heads, everybody.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord on high, we approach your throne, Lord, humbly, in awe and of your majesty and your I mean, we can't even comprehend the vastness of your creation and how you work. And I mean, just to imagine being at the foot of your throne just sounds so daunting, but at the same time to think that you see us as family, that you grafted us into the family is just unbelievable, Lord. So we thank you for allowing us to come to you at any time and any place in our lives, and short or long prayers, whatever they are, we're able to come to you at your throne through the shed blood of Jesus Christ who brought us into the family, Lord. I just want to ponder that for a minute and just soak that in of how amazing that is. Thank you, Lord, for loving us and creating us. And thank you for making us in your image. We are your image bearers and we are your representatives here on earth, Lord. Help us to not take that for granted. We were bought and paid for with a very high cost, with the blood of the spotless Lamb and the high priest, Jesus Christ. So have your way in us, Lord. Anoint our ministry, appoint our steps. Every listener out there, may they just allow you to enter in and heal the wounds of your heart that are hidden away, the unforgiveness, the loss, the tragedy, the pain, the betrayal, whatever it is, Lord. We welcome you in. Every single one of, if anybody out there is in agreement, just welcome Jesus into your heart right now and let him heal those hidden soul wounds. Refresh us, Lord. Restore us, Lord. Help us to be made anew in your likeness. Help us to align our hearts and minds with the heart and mind of Christ so that we can convey your light into the world and rescue those around us who are still in darkness, chasing money, chasing sex, chasing parties, chasing acceptance, chasing whatever it is, status, clout, job title, whatever it is that people have put as an idol in their life, and it is destroying them slowly as they chase earthly perfection when they can have perfection through you and only you. And only you can fill that God-shaped, that Jesus-shaped hole in our hearts. Not drugs, not alcohol, not any addiction, not pornography, nothing. We're going to keep trying to put things there, but only you. So, Lord, we surrender our hearts to you again and again, and we ask you to sift us and show us any unforgiveness that's lurking in our hearts that we can relinquish. And we understand it might not be one and done. We're going to continue to, as those feelings percolate again, remind us, Lord, to just surrender that to you and just forgive anyone around us. Lord, I want to say a prayer tonight for our brother in Christ, Jack Pine Savage. He's in charge of looking after his mother part-time. I think he shares duties, Lord. His mother has dementia. I've been there and I know how hard it is, Lord. So we pray that you will lift him up on wings like an eagle in the most hardest times, the most disappointing times, and the scariest times where he sees his mom's mental health degenerate. Lord, we pray that you will just tap him on the shoulder and let him know that you are right there with him, that you see him, and that he's not alone. And you'll give him the wisdom and the discernment he needs to go forward every day as he, don't let him lose heart, Lord. Help him to just stay focused on you. And this goes out to anybody else out there listening who is a caregiver. If you're taking care of anybody in your life, specifically right now, I'm talking about people with dementia. It is a scary, sad, heartbreaking thing to see the people who raised you turn into children before your eyes, Lord, and forget the things you thought they would never forget. So, Lord, we pray that you'll strengthen them, uphold them, let them know that you are close to them, speak to them in those unique ways that only they would know. It's you just giving them a nod, that they don't have to understand everything, but all they have to know is that you're with them and that you're going to guide them one step at a time. They don't have to have the whole plan in front of them. They just need to know where to go next. So be with them in that, Lord. Lord, I pray for anybody else that's struggling in their marriage. Maybe they're struggling with illness, a chronic illness, or an illness that contains chronic pain that will not relent. Lord, we pray that you will just be their comforter. If you could, please guide them into the proper care, or reveal something, a homeopathic or holistic cure that they can see online that they can try and maybe have success with. Or even more importantly, just put the healing touch of Jesus. We're asking for you to just touch those people right now and heal them right where they are at. Set them free of this physical burden so that they can live out their fullness in sharing the ministry of what you did for them, Lord. Sometimes we know, Lord, that the answer is no. And our suffering is what draws us closer to you and helps us to recognize what Jesus went through on the cross. So if your answer is no, help us to just embrace that pain, knowing that you're teaching us a little bit about suffering, because when we leave this earth, we're going to suffer no more. So help us to focus on you, Lord, in whatever our circumstances are, Lord. I pray for our guest tonight, J.C. Hall. He's a brother in Christ. We respect him. We love him. We love his intellect. We love his thought processes. We love his knowledge of the Bible. We love his knowledge of other things too, about the Constitution. He is just an all-around God, man with wisdom and discernment, and we just are so proud to call him a friend. Lord, we pray that every listener will be edified by the things that come out of his mouth. And I pray that you will just put your anointing on Jesse and myself and JC and all of our listeners. May we just join together in spirit as we commune together through this podcast. And may we just grow in the things that we learn and we discern, and the things that you download into our minds, may they be conveyed in an articulate manner that has deep meaning for the listeners, that they can write on the tablet of their heart and take into the world as part of their ministry. Lord, it seems like there's something else I want to mention, but that's it for right now. I think, Lord, thank you for allowing us to have access to you. Thank you for the death of Christ, which tore the veil and just brought us into your presence. No more tabernacles, no more curtains, just us in front of you. Lord, our tears, I see them just covering Jesus's feet as we bow down before him and thank him for what he did for us, because otherwise humanity was lost. Thank you for the second Adam of Jesus Christ, who came to undo what the first Adam did. Be with us tonight. May everyone be edified and everyone be strengthened by what they hear here. And maybe they'll get a laugh too out of something we say. And I pray that everyone listening feels like family. I pray all this in Jesus Christ's holy and precious name. Amen.
All right, brother. Thank you. Amen. I like that. I'm sure JC is going to enjoy that prayer too. So Jack Pine Savage, yes, he says, thank you, brother. Amen. Excellent. All right, you guys. Want to go to the other side, Outcast? Get JC on here? All right. We'll be right back, you guys, with JC Hall.
Let's do it.
All right, you guys, our good friend JC Hall is back on the show tonight, and we welcome a man who walked away from the constant noise of heavy political warfare to discuss or to focus on something deeper: personal growth, building his business, and sharpening his voice through writing. You guys, he's a good writer too, which means, listen, I want you to go check out his Substack. You can read everything he does at The Cynical Patriot over on Substack.com, at The Cynical Patriot. Also, JC's got a brand new business out of Florida, Outcast. Listen, it's JC's business. It's called JC Plants. You can find that on Facebook, and also it's JC Plants. I put all the links to all this stuff right here in the description of the show. JC Hall, it's been a long time, brother. Look at you. How you been, JC? Oh, hang on. I've got you muted. Hold on. Dang it. There you go. JC, what's going on, brother?
Good, man. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we're good to go. How you doing? The Cynical Patriot. Look at him.
Things are going great, man. Yeah, doing a little writing. I haven't put anything up in the last little bit. I have a couple things kind of in the hopper. I need to get them edited and put up there. So, yeah, man, that's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been so long since you've been on the show. We've been, like kind of like I said we saw personal growth come out of you. Isn't that right, Outcast? We've watched something new, something that we can aspire to. There's a video that I want to play in just a little bit, but Outcast, tell us a little bit more about that. We saw this transformation. We kind of felt it with you too. I mean, it was, I like it is what I'm saying, Outcast. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to say that JC kind of is a reflection of how we're all feeling. I mean, you get to a point where you feel like you're banging your head against the wall and you have to redirect your focus and focus on God in order to get clarity and to be able to move forward. This world is a clown show filled with gaslighting and disappointments through, if you dig into politics, you're going to be disappointed with the outcome frequently, because even when the people that you want in office are there, it doesn't mean things are being fixed, because this is a broken world and things aren't going to go right here. So then in addition to that, we saw JC also, get into motorcycles, which was kind of cool. He felt a new renewed freedom in that. And then it sounds like started your own business, which is a kind of a small unit, maybe you and just a couple other people, and just raw grit and energy. But that's inspiring to people like me, who I work for a company. And sometimes, I long for that kind of entrepreneurial spirit to be on my own, but I'm afraid. So your courage is contagious, because when you watch people like you, JC, you just go, oh man, he's just living the free man's life and just making money that he needs based on his efforts and not somebody else's. Is that good? Am I on the right track, Jesse? Is that what you thought I was going to say, or what?
Oh yeah, pretty good. Right. It's really good. And let's not forget, him and Chrisanne and everybody, you guys went through Hurricane Milton, when remember my youngest daughter, she was down there too, just miles away from you guys. But long story. I mean, there's so much you guys have been through over the last few years, and I'm looking here. The last time you were live with us at JC was December 23rd, 2024. It was a couple nights before Christmas, featuring JC Hall. We talked about multiculturalism and media's flu. So just crazy stuff. Yep. It never ends. It's a cycle. But you seem to
6 months ago
get yourself out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know how many know. I know a couple of people obviously in the chat room that've been here a long time, but my wife is Chris Ann Hall. We're in the political realm, I guess you would say, for over 15 years, just fighting the fight and all that kind of stuff. And I just really got sick of it, in plain language, just sick of it. I couldn't do it anymore, man. And I literally would feel like anxiety attacks just thinking about the stuff, just listening to the news or whatever. So I unplugged. It's been over a year and a half now, I think. It was the previous December, not last December, but the previous really November, December timeframe. So yeah, man, I just decided that's not my focus. It's not what I want to do. So I got off, as you know, I got off all social media. I was off social media for like 14 months. I didn't have any social media accounts or anything like that for about 14 months. And as I told you guys before, once I unplugged from all of that, social media in particular, and just the constant noise, and I'm not talking about just being aware of what's going on. I still stay aware of some things, but what I'm talking about is just the emotional attachment, just like everyday grind of that stuff. When I let it go and turn that noise off, man, my creativity shot through the roof. My clarity of thought was just unreal, man. I almost, coming out of that, I look back and thought, man, I don't know if I was able to really think, because now I feel like I can finally think. And so it's a weird thing. And I don't want to say I'm not trying to be prescriptive for everybody. You don't have to do what I do. I'm not saying this is for everybody else, and I'm not being critical of people that are plugged in. Like my wife's still in the fight. I appreciate what people, in the fight do. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't supposed to be doing it, and so I had to sort of take control of what I was supposed to be doing. And a lot of that, like you said, I found the outlet in the writing. I started writing a lot. Did a little drawing and kind of art, creativity. I'm a creative, so I have to create. And in the business realm, I found that in landscaping. I worked for a guy for about 14 months in landscaping, and so I finally decided to go out on my own and started my own business. So we design and install, and so all that, the designing and doing that sort of thing is a mode of creativity for me. But I feel that what Outcast said about being scared, because I was just thinking the other day how much risk, you have to embrace risk in starting your own business and going out on your own, and it can be a scary thing, because you invest in a certain way, you put out money. Like for instance, I as a landscaper, I can get wholesale prices on plants, and sometimes they have sales, and so I'll buy up a bunch of plants and try to flip the plants, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
just a small example of a risk, okay, let me drop 200, 300, whatever, a couple $100 into these plants. Well, what if they don't sell? I've got sort of an expiration on those things. They're not going to live forever. I got to get these things sold. So how am I going to connect to customers? Where am I going to be? And maybe it doesn't work out. So there is an element of that, nervousness, let's say, about the risk you have to take to run a business.
Yeah, totally. And right here, Outcast, you guys, I got to bring JC's camera back on, but this is his website right here. And, that's the wrong one. There we go. So this is JC Plants and Landscaping, complete landscape solutions serving the Tampa, Brandon, the Villages area. The Villages. Outcast, I'm 55 now. I can get in there. But yeah, he's doing all kinds of stuff here with we don't just sell plants. We build yards, complete yards, design, maintenance, install, privacy screens, sod, plant installation, local, reliable, fair pricing. Look at you guys are actually in there. I mean, you got your own business. Outcast. I've been doing this since 1992, and he's got more gusto than I do right now. In getting this deep into it, because I'm trying to back away a little bit, and JC has jumped right in there, and man, I appreciate that. That's awesome. I love new business. People running and owning new business. Yeah, go ahead. Okay,
and I appreciate your honesty, JC. That it was, you were a little concerned about the shift into that, because somebody like me, I'm just like, man, is JC just courageous? It's like, no, he's just like you and I. He calculated the risk. Also, too, the type of work you're doing, when you're sodding and leveling off, grading and all that stuff, that's a lot of physical labor, dude. You have workers to do it for you, or are you getting your hands in there and you're doing it too? Both?
I'm in there, man. I mean, I like, if we have, I like to have a crew. I got my son, and he's got a bunch of strong friends, and so we usually tap some of them. But I mean, I'm out there doing it. Listen, I did this landscaping consistently for about a year and a half when I unplugged. And I always had the attitude, man, if I can't outwork anybody on the job site, I don't need to be out here. And so, yeah, I get these young bucks, and I try to, let them do a lot of the heavy lifting and heavy labor stuff. But at the same time, I maybe that's pride in me, but I just feel like I can outwork most of them anyway.
Yep. Well, that's good. You're an old goat. That's what you are, like me. Just an old goat getting out there, teaching these young bucks how to do some sweating and some hard labor. So listen, staying in the. Well, I was gonna go ahead.
I was gonna say just one thing other than the physical labor. We're in Central Florida, so the real killer is not so much physical labor; it's the heat. It's freaking hot here.
Yep.
I was wondering about that. Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't think I could cut it.
I couldn't. Every time I been down there, it's like, man, I'm finding the shade or the water. I can't be in the sun. It drives me nuts. But listen, there is a theme here, because Outcast, when he was going through all this stuff, we felt the same thing. It's like, man, I'm so sick of this political crap. And I think that the show is reflects that from that point, because we've gone into a whole bunch of other things, adding other things on. We're still talking about silver and gold and all the guns and all that. We still love all that stuff, right? But we realized, I think, that this whole political sphere that we, this whole matrix that we're unplugging from is, we realized it's probably not worth, what am I trying to say? There's more things important than that, and we've discovered this, okay? Now, there's another guy that I want to share with you guys right now, because when I watched this, I thought, dang, I got to save this and play this for JC when he comes on. Listen, you guys, there's going to be a little cussing in this, but I think it's justified. Check this out.
Does anybody else just not give a shit anymore? I'm just tapped out. Hey, did you hear? Someone tried to off the president. I don't care. No, but the war in Iran. Yeah, I don't care. I really don't give a shit. But the Strait of Hormuz, why do I know what that is? Aren't you mad that you know what that is? We shouldn't know what that is. I Googled how long it takes to hard boil an egg this morning. I'm not gonna stand here and pretend I know about global shipping choke points with you. Strait of Hormuz, what is that, a yoga pose? You want to discuss the geopolitical and economical repercussions of the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. Didn't you not graduate high school, bud? But AI is gonna take everyone's jobs. Good. No one works anymore anyway. You send an email no one gives a shit about, you drink at lunch and leave early. That's work now. You know what? Hey, I'll go first. You can have mine. I'll train it. Here's how you send an email no one gives a shit about, robot. I'll see you in World War III. But global warming. Dude, it's May and it's freezing out right now. It's cold until June now. And I'm pretty sure there's some shady spots on this island where there's still ice left from last winter. Last winter almost killed us. But don't you think it's important to stay informed? No, I don't. Because informed now means just knowing about 57 different horrible things that are going on that you can't do a goddamn thing about at all times. So what if something big happens? How big can it be if I can't see it? If it's big enough for me to give a shit about, I'll be able to see it. And when I see it, I'll run away. okay? But you used to care about this stuff. I did. I really did. I had my opinions, I read articles, I stayed up on things. But now, man, honestly, I'm just trying to find out why the remote is in the refrigerator. All right, I'm not built for this. You're not built for this. We cannot actually care about all of this shit. It's not possible. So what do you care about now? The immediate well-being of my wife and kids, the way it's supposed to be.
That's awesome. That's Keith Sullivan too over on TikTok. Man, he nailed it, you guys. I've been feeling the same way for so long. It's frustrating. We have one foot in this, one foot in that. Eventually, it's like, look, we all tend to do what JC did. And what's your thoughts on that, JC? Does that make you feel something?
Yeah, man. I mean, he really summed it up. That's where I went, and that's pretty well where I'm at. I pay attention. For instance, the Strait of Hormuz, the whole Iran thing. I've tuned in, barely. I don't. Again, I'm not plugged into any of that stuff every day, like just thinking about it and getting emotionally connected. I paid attention because I'm in landscaping and I have to buy a lot of gas, to do what I do. So I just kind of tuned in for curiosity, like where is this gas price going? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? But even while I was doing that, I'm looking at the pump. I'm thinking, JC, there's your answer. Like, why do you have to check all that stuff? Just look at, like, I can pull up Google and put in gas and it shows me all the gas prices at the gas station nearby. Like, so even that, I don't really need to even dig into that. So, some of it's just still a curiosity. You guys probably remember I always liked, foreign policy and geopolitics more than domestic stuff. So every now and again, I get curious about what's going on in that realm, and I'll look up, hey, I'll type in Ukraine, maybe once a month, Iran. Okay, that's what's going on. Oh, the same thing. It hasn't changed in 6 months. Yeah, figured. So that's the one thing I saw over the years and years that we were in this. In fact, I think I told you guys this story. We went to, we were missionaries to Haiti for a while and went down to Haiti one time. And we were there 4 months on this occasion and completely cut off from any sort of news, any kind of internet, anything like that. So for 4 months, I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't know anything that was going on. As we were going down, the guy that I was with, he was into the news and following all that. And so we were listening. And so, I knew what was happening when we went dark, 4 months, came out and turned the stuff back on. It was as if somebody hit pause and like it just started again. It was the very same thing 4 months later. They were saying the same stuff, doing the same stuff. Nothing changes. That's what you realize when you unplug and you kind of look, peek back in from time to time. You realize nothing changes. It's the same thing over and over. Little sort of flavors, little, context shifts just a bit, but it's just the same. Like Outcast said, the same circus, the same theater, over and over and over and over. And you can't do anything about that theater. There's 99% of it. There's not a damn thing I could ever do to affect it. So why am I going to expend my emotional energy into what I have no influence on whatsoever?
Yeah. From what I remember hearing, the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 that took over Russia and the Russians, and 80 years, something like that it ran and turned into the USSR, and that's where we get the term Pravda, right? The Pravda media, talking about what was state media, state sponsored media. Well, after it was all taken over by these Bolsheviks, and you guys can look up where those people came from, but they're here now. But the people, the Russians, the original Russians, from what I remember, the way they approached media and the news, quote unquote, the news that they were all fed, is that everybody come to realize that the media was nothing but Pravda media, and they laughed at it. They paid no attention to it. It took a long time, but eventually the media had no effect on anybody over there. It was just a circus theater for the people, the Bolsheviks that were running it. The Russian people, they're like, no, this is not what we need. But I'm praying for the day that we get like that here and realize that what we have is the Pravda media here. It's a circus. It's a puppet show. It's it's nothing more than remember when Mr. Rogers, he'd go over there and see the puppet show and all that. That's all this is. That's all this. But when enough people understand that and start acting appropriately and pointing and laughing at the media for everything they're trying to do, like hantavirus right now. JC, until you just said it, Ukraine was off my mind. I totally forgot about Ukraine until you brought it up. I don't even know what's going on over there, but they make good potatoes, is what I'm saying.
Because they changed the topic. I mean, that's the whole thing. When you see, again, as I said, it's the same thing over and over again, but it'll be that same thing somewhere else. Like, we're going to do the same thing, but we want you to watch it here. I mean, don't watch that anymore. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. Watch this. So it's just, they put up one distraction after another. So I don't know, man. I don't want to feel like that.
Yeah.
Some gerbil on a wheel or some little puppet on a string.
Yep.
And I have found this as well. Certainly in the patriot world that we were in, my view and my position is not particularly popular. Like when I say you can't do anything. Oh, JC, you can run for office. You can petition this. You can petition that. Yeah, you can, not me.
Yeah.
I'm like the guy on TikTok. I'm not built for that. And it's not worth it to me. So I understand there are people who have that in them, and that's what they're supposed to do, and we're supposed to have them, I guess. And that's fine, but it's not me. So I just found a lot of this is what was disturbing. I don't know if we had this conversation sort of behind the scenes, but what was disturbing? It wasn't all rainbows and roses when I left all this stuff. It felt like it was my leaving was such a shock to so many people.
Yeah.
It was not pleasant to get the impression that people didn't really care for you as who you are. They cared for you based on the role they wanted you to play for them. And so I had to sort of come to grips with that, and just I just had to keep moving. Eventually people didn't act like that around me. I kind of felt like maybe they related me in that way because they maybe wanted to drive me back to that. Oh, JC, you're making a big mistake. You'll be back. All this sort of stuff. But I guess enough time went by that it didn't work out that way for them, and so people treat me differently now. I mean, I'm treated, as me rather than JC, the whatever I was to whoever. So that's one of the things. Is same thing in all these sort of instances of stepping out. Let's say whether it's starting a business, whether it's just turning away from what you've always done, doing something new. You're always gonna sort of face opposition or face people that don't understand. It doesn't mean they're against you. It just people are not good with change. So that's one thing I've learned. You just have to put your head down, be committed to what is true for you, and just keep moving forward in that. Because at the end of the day, that the opinions of everybody and their brother is not what matters. And I remember when it all when I just said enough is enough. I said, you know what? I'm after self-fulfillment, and it's about living the purpose that I feel God has for me, and I don't mean self-fulfillment as in, I'm just me and get whatever for me, whatever. I mean, I have to walk in what I felt I was supposed to walk in. And that's really what it was about.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think we can both appreciate that, right, Outcast? JC, check your mic. You sound a little muffled. I'm not sure what mic you're using and what mic picked you up, but
Okay.
go ahead, Outcast. See what's your thoughts on what he said and what he's
So
doing.
many thoughts, but it's funny. In my prayer, JC, I asked that you would say things that were edifying to the listener, right? And you're definitely doing that. I think that you're echoing how we all feel, and it makes us feel comforted to know that we are not alone in this journey. Miss Melody made a couple of comments over here that I totally agree with. What if the fatigue is part of the plan? Which I think she's onto something. I think that's absolutely correct. That is part of the plan. They want to fatigue us to make us check out. But there's always a positive to the negative. The other part of this equation is that, what happened to most of us when we got politically activated in our late 30s, 40s, whatever it was, we started believing that if we fought hard enough, like our forefathers fought, we could maybe turn this ship around. And we got what we wanted when Trump was elected for a second term. And when we saw that nothing, I shouldn't say nothing, but yes, he was doing some good things, but for every good thing he did, there was something I didn't approve of. And I think for most of us, it's disappointing, but at the same time, the blessing is we realize that only God can fix this. I think that what a lot of us were doing in our, I think it was as a whole, humanity as a whole, conservatives as a whole, we were kind of like had this latent feeling in the back of our heart that, hey, it'd be cool if we get the right people in there and they can fix this. Well, what that does is it's a hope in people, not God. And God he's constantly correcting us and shaping us and helping us to see the big picture and think about how much closer all of us have come to God in this process. So if their plan was to fatigue us, to overrun us, what they've done is fatigued us to make us acknowledge a higher being and our relationship with God, and to check ourselves and to realize where we are and standing with him. And not that we're earning our way into heaven, I'm not saying that, but where we are as far as our focus and where our faith is at. So God can take whatever was intended for evil and he can turn it to good. And I think I'm seeing that in JC. I'm seeing Jack Pine. I'm seeing myself. I'm seeing in Jesse. I'm seeing in everybody that thinks like us, that woke up a while ago. We are kind of like, oh, I get it, God. You don't want us to focus on a savior here. Our savior is to come back. He was already here. He redeemed us. He brought us into your presence. He's at the right hand of God, and so of the God in heaven, and so are we because of him. That's amazing. That's good stuff. So there's a lot going on here. I think that they aren't trying to fatigue us. Maybe they're trying to wake us up, but I think they're fatiguing us. But at the same time, they're teaching us where our priorities lie. I love it. I'm happy about this because no man is coming to save us. They're all corrupted. The reason nothing works right, it is futile for JC's friends to say, hey, maybe you should go into politics. You can fix this, JC. They don't want people like JC who are qualified or their character is good. They're looking intentionally for the people who are the least qualified and the most compromised. Those are the puppets they want in place. We watched it here in Michigan. We have Carla Wagner, who we've been endorsing on the show for governor. She has not been pre-chosen by the Insiders Club. She's got fight. She's got moxie. She's got stamina. She's got everything that we would want as a leader for Michigan. They want nothing to do with her. Why? Because they're looking for the ineffective. They are looking for the weak. They don't want good, strong people in place. Now, another thought I want to share. Sorry, guys. JC, when he's talking, my synapses were going. I saw an article. Some people might think this is wacky or strange, but I liked it. It resonated with me. It was some article online about how, take it or leave it, but theme parks, roller coaster parks, are designed to be emotion harvesting centers. Underneath there are facilities that none of the staff can access. Nobody has access to them, but they generate nostalgia. They generate fear. They generate, like, because you're on the roller coaster, adrenaline. There's all these things, and they are. If there's any truth to that whatsoever, which I don't think it's a stretch personally, because I look at the world from a spiritual vantage point. But if the enemy is emotion harvesting, why would they just stop at a theme park when they can turn the entire country and the entire world into an emotional harvesting center for the dark side? They're gonna gaslight us. They're gonna scare us day to day with a different psyop. Here comes another one. Here comes another one. And Jesse and I were making a list to do a segment on. We haven't done it yet, and we were listing all the past psyops that we forgot about that came and went, like the Mahdi, this guy that shows up and he was going to be the Mahdi, and then all of a sudden he was gone. That's just one of many. We were making a list, and I thought of another one today. I can't remember what it was offhand, but I was just like, there's another one that came to mind. I cannot believe how many different things they've tried on us. They know that they're losing the battle. So JC's, let me get back to JC. So JC's unplugging is exactly what I think that we need to do to win this battle. If we're invested in this machine with our emotions through Fox News or CNN or whichever, or The View or whatever it is that you choose to as your vehicle for hope and change through humans, and they watch your emotions go up and down, and they repeat the script over and over again, and they actually literally repeat movie scripts. I just saw a thing the other day that showed all the parallels between Harry Potter and Star Wars.
Yep.
And when you see it, your jaw will be on the ground. You're like, what? I never thought about it like that. They totally stole the entire theme of Star Wars for a new generation called Harry Potter. Why? Because they need us on a loop, and that loop is emotion harvesting, right? And keeping us stuck in the matrix. So what JC's actually living out in his pursuit, and when he went out on a limb and said, I'm going to do this, even though I have doubts and fears about doing this, he did it anyways, is he is decoupling from the system so they can no longer harvest his emotions for hope in humans. He is decoupled and plugged into the God of the universe. How amazing is that? Sorry, guys. I'm just on a stream of consciousness roll.
I like it. JC, that's good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I switch microphones. I hope that's better. The one thing I learned, one thing I realized along the lines of what Outcast is saying there, when I unplugged from the news cycle, I began to realize how much of the conversation that was going on and people around me was simply a reflection of what they're being fed from the media. Just as I said, I felt like I had not been able to think clearly, and suddenly I just had this experience of thinking and thought, wow, I'm sharp, man. I just thought of that, like figure stuff out and get to the root of the matter quickly. My thoughts were so clear. So that's the one thing I've realized in the midst of this. Even well-intentioned people, and I'm not talking about crazy people. I'm talking about patriots, and all that. I don't know that they think as clearly as they think they do. Some of the opinions we have and some of the things we say, just like the political thing. I thought about this. For a lot of folks in the political fight, like we were, the activist realm, and I thought to myself, would all of those people, if they had never watched news or news media, would they have been activists? If it hadn't been for the sort of informational influence and the emotional shaping that we were exposed to, would we have made the choices and made decisions that we made anyway? Because I was, square peg in a round hole. It was not what I should have been doing, and I did it for 15 years. In that, because of all the context and what we were in and the influence around, and a lot of different decisions. But for me, there's a fatigue aspect. But I thought about this when you said fatigue. What is fatigue? Fatigue is the expenditure of personal physical resources beyond right what you should or what you are capable of doing, right? So it is inherently an expenditure of resources. So it wasn't a matter of for me saying, oh, I'm tired and I just got to quit this. It was me identifying the allocation of resources and saying, no, that doesn't deserve my emotional resources, my spiritual resources, my physical resource. So it was about what Outcast said, priorities. It was about realizing priorities. And I just decided I'm not going to waste my life pouring into something that I don't find personally valuable. And again, I have to keep saying this. This is not a critique for those in that realm. If that is your calling, I fully support that. What I'm talking about, me, and there may be somebody out there like me. You think you're supposed to be doing these things, but maybe listening to this, you realize that you're in the group that I'm in. That this is not what you're supposed to be doing, and what it does to you, and what you have to go through, may not be worth it. It wasn't worth it to me. I'm happier. I feel great when I got out of all that stuff. And again, am I concerned? Am I informed? Yeah, I think I'm informed. I think I'm concerned. But if I want to find out something, I don't sit in front of some talking head and listen to what they say about it. I dig and research, and figure out what's going on. But I don't scroll on social media. I don't, I'm not locked into that. I'm not plugged into some newscast or somebody's opinion on a daily basis. I think that's one of the dangers, the sort of, and I realize all of us have been in the podcasting realm. We're on a podcast now, but I think there is a danger side to just sort of streaming information. You're just sitting there and soaking and listening, and it's just coming at you. You're not actively engaging. You're not actively the one doing the searching and thinking. There's sort of a thinking mechanism that kicks in when it's just you digging, you researching, you learning, you're going, finding out, and digging this stuff up rather than sitting and listening and watching, and it's just coming at you. And so I think there's a passivity that's been created within our thought processes by the structure that has been built around us, and I think it's really shaped our minds and our thinking ability in a way that sometimes we don't even realize to what extent that's happened to us.
I love that. And what it makes me think of too is like, the Bible is it's the living, breathing word of God. And no matter what you're going through in your life, you could read the same verse at different points of your life and it'll take on different meaning. And when you read your Bible, there's so many aha moments and these moments that just they pierce your heart. You just right here. And you're right. When I'm scrolling, I'm listening to what people are saying. I am not connecting and feeling. JC, you hit me hard with that. That's huge. That scrolling, I do a lot of it, and I share a lot of stuff with our text thread. And I know it's sometimes doom and gloom, but I'm like, if I gotta see this, I gotta share this with the guys that I care about the most. I want them to see it. But yeah, they're probably thinking, oh, here's another link from Outcast. It's going to be some kind of doom and gloom. But I'm just like, I'm taking in so much of that. But if I made more time, because I know that's rewarding when I read my Bible, if I put that same energy into reading my Bible, those aha moments, those discoveries, that is so much far more rewarding and life-changing and character changing and faith building. And everything we're doing on the internet is just like, how about this? How about this? How about this? And they're telling you what to think, and that they're not really engaging you to think in the word. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a programming technique. When I went through college for a psychology degree, I remember, B.F. Skinner was one of the most striking parts of that, and just the behavioral programming, and all the social media is built in that way. If you go and study B.F. Skinner and you study those behavioral techniques, all the social media works in that exact same way. And it's funny. I saw Jack Pine's comment about the young people, on TikTok and whatnot. Um, it's interesting. We talk like oh, you're just scrolling and looking at your phone. You sound like some kind of boomer, right? But what's interesting is watching uh, young men and women, my son's age, 19, these teenagers and 20 somethings. They're having the same mindset. They're like, my son left social media, and a bunch of his friends, they don't even have social media.
Good.
And I find a lot of young people today, unplugging and thinking differently than what we'd assume. They try to put out, the David Hogg crowd, and that's supposed to be all the young people. And I tell you, it's not. And we've had this conversation before, Chris Ann and I, as we traveled. We ran into a lot of young people, 20 somethings, teenagers, and found, this group rebelling against the leftist, control mechanism, not just leftists, but this whole cabal and this whole control mechanism. And that's spread far and wide. And I've mentioned this before to you guys. It corresponds to that great book I discovered called The Fourth Turning, and talking about that generation. So you have this alternating generations that they reject their parents' worldview and they adopt more so their grandparents' worldview, and that flip flops constantly. So, why does it sound like a boomer? Boomer saying, it's going to. Well, because that's now our kids are now adopting our parents,
Yeah.
viewpoint in a lot of sense, have that sort of core about them. And so that, that's encouraging, let's say. I see that a lot. And a lot of times, as I've said before with you guys, we got to travel and see a lot of places. A lot of times you just see where you are. And if you don't see it, you're discouraged. Oh, all the kids I know, they're always on their phone. And yeah, that's generally true, not just kids, but adults, everybody. But yeah, there's definitely a generation that's a lot different. So I have hope in that sense for my son's generation, the hero generation. If you read The Fourth Turning, he and his friends are the hero generation, and so I think they're headed in a good direction. They're sort of the anti World Economic Forum mindset. Like these kids are the opposite, and they're going to be the ones in charge sooner or later.
That's great to hear. I love hearing that.
I do too.
Yeah, that's the best. And I think a lot of kids are going that way too. My oldest daughter, she got rid of the iPhone. She's got a flip phone now. Went back to that, and got rid of all the social media too. Enjoying the heck out of that. So I welcome it. Again, we just have to get back.
And again, you can use it. Again, I don't. I want to say clearly, I'm not prescriptive with this. I'm not saying you got to do everything that I do or think this way. But the one thing I would say when I talk about unplugging from social media and the sort of political whatever, you can still pay attention. You can still be informed. Most of what I'm talking about is the emotional attachment,
the influence. Yeah.
There is a weird attachment that people have been trained into, particularly in the political realm, that I don't think is healthy. I think our mental health is under assault in this country, and it's just not healthy. Both sides to see people just like I don't know, Jayapal or Ilhan Omar or whatever says something crazy. And conservatives, I mean, just enraged, just apoplectic about this stuff. Same thing with the Trump derangement syndrome on the other side. But the idea that you can get that emotionally invested in a person you don't know, and a person in general has now you've been taught the opposite, but in general they don't have much influence over your life and just this intense emotion about really perfect strangers. There's something abnormal about that. And that's where this, the news cycle and social media has brought us. And so if for nothing else but your mental health, I would say people need to begin to start unwinding their emotional attachment to these things. And I think Outcast alluded to it. I think you enter into that process by stopping and thinking about what is really important in life. What are the things, and not just in life in general, but what are the important things in your life? Who is important in your life? And so of all if we could calculate all the time that we devoted to paying attention to what Trump's doing, what's going on in Iran, the UAPs, blah, 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 blah. How much of that time do different individuals in your life deserve of that time? Like, we're wasting valuable time that you'll never get back, that you could spend with those who are really important and really meaningful in your life, and activities, things, accomplishments, goals, endeavors that are really important and would add value to your life. And we're wasting it on nonsense and perfect strangers, perfect self-important, self-appointed rulers of the universe, who really are meaningless. Yep. They're not. We already know they're not good people, and so I feel it's almost a moral thing to me. I feel almost dirty. I feel somehow I'm doing something wrong if I give of myself to these people.
Man, while you were just saying all that, JC, I'm staring at your face talking, and you brought back a lot of memories for me. Back before any of us knew each other, we know each other on a personal basis now. But before any of us knew each other, I'll say back in 2012, Here I am sitting on a lawnmower. Mower, just you can hear that all day long. Well, I used to listen to sports radio. That didn't last long because it's like, man, I got to a point where like, I'm not learning anything and this is wasting my time. I'm sitting on this mower all day. I need to listen to something that really fulfills me. That is something that I can learn from. So I somehow, before podcasts were even big, I found this little lady, Chris Ann Hall, talking about constitutional stuff. This is when Obama was in office, talking about Constitution and all this stuff. And that got me really excited. And I just kept listening to her over and over again. I don't know if I emailed the show or something. And then somehow you came along because I didn't see JC Hall for a long time. You weren't part of that show that was syndicated for a long time. It was structured and everything with the commercial breaks and all that. And then at some point I realized this JC Hall knows Chris Ann somehow. I figured out it was same last name and all that, but, and I don't know, I don't remember the platforms back then I started reaching out to you guys and you started answering back. And then I started sending pictures of my lawnmower and the yard that I was in and saying, hey, I thought this was great. Fast forward, 9 years to 2021, and me and Outcast had just met 5 years prior to that, or 4 years prior to that, something like that. And I said, we got to have a podcast because I've been wanting to do a podcast for so long. I think you guys gave me that inspiration to do that. And it jumped off. And now, look, we were in Georgia. We met each other. We hung out. We had dinner together, breakfast, whatever. And I'm just sitting here looking at all this stuff. How the heck did all this happen? Because we didn't know each other personally until we met through this electronic medium. But now look at us now. We're all trying to, I don't know, step away. I'm thinking more of using it to our advantage against them who are trying to use it against us. But yet we've come to this friendship that is amazing, I think. And it's just, I don't know, while you were talking there, all that just hit me at once. I'm probably not making any sense for anybody, but it happened. And that's where I'm at. Outcast, I don't know how you feel about that.
No, you're making total sense. And and to me, it looks, I don't know if this is the correct terminology. JC, correct me if I'm wrong, like divine providence. It's like God has intended for his children. Maybe we foreknew each other before we were selected to come here now. Right. I don't know how it all works, but I'm just thinking out loud. I mean, there's a purpose in all this. And it's funny because when JC was talking earlier too, Jesse, I was kind of goofing on him, looking at him going, I'm so grateful to have this man in our life because he's grounded, he's faithful, he's intelligent, he's courageous, he's everything that we aspire to be. He's a brother in Christ. And I feel like that about many people that we're friends with through this podcast too.
Yeah.
But just to have him on, it's just like, wow, this is so cool that God has brought us together. Great people. Like you just told me today, you're going to book Scott Mitchell. He's the same caliber as JC Hall. He's an amazing guy. He's just, he's one of us. It's just, God keeps bringing his children together. I feel like, you know what I mean? I
like it. Yep, I do. Yeah, I know what you mean. All right, JC, sorry about all the gushing and all that stuff, but it's real and it happened. You know what I'm saying? It happened and it's real and I enjoy it and I like it. And you tell Chris Ann if she's around, just tell her we said hi and we appreciate her. But I want to talk about what you started the conversation today. a little while ago. All right. And it was fun because me and the Outcast, we both really like it. And I think a lot of our people enjoy this topic. And what it is, you guys.
He's going to throw me under the bus. Outcast.
Do you believe in time travel? No, we're not. This is such a great topic. We've talked about this a lot here on the show. We've looked into a lot of this kind of stuff, Outcast. We've had a great time. And whenever the topic comes up, I'm fascinated. I'm intrigued. It always leads to the Bible. And when you said that earlier, JC, you said, do you guys believe in time travel? And we were like, well, in a certain way. Well, I just happen to have this book. It's called Time Travelers of the Bible by Gary Stearman. This is sitting at my nightstand right next to the gun. Okay, it's right there. I mean, I was like, JC, I'm going to show you this book when I get home. So, so it's so funny that you talked about that, and then we got into it a little bit, talking about this and that, and some excerpts and some things that are in the Bible that are just wild. But I don't know if it's for us humans to be in that. I know our government and military complex, they dabble in this time travel thing. I don't know if they've had any luck at it, like they would tell us if they did or not. But I know they've done Looking Glass, and they told us all about what they found there, didn't they, Outcast? But this whole time travel thing, it's fun for me. I like it. And whether we can do it, I doubt it, but maybe just because we're human. But I think, I don't know. Where am I going? Because we talked about this earlier, you guys.
Well, we had a fun debate. Unfortunately, I was driving at the time, so I was not as engaged as I normally would have been, because I was trying to text and drive, which I know I shouldn't do, but I do it all the time. So sorry if I was a little light with my communication. I think this is a fun debate. JC, I don't know if who wants to go first, but my thoughts off the top, just to get the ball rolling here, is this. I have heard recently a near-death experience where a guy was in a coma for 18 days, and he claims he was taken into the third heaven. And he said that he was shown, there was no concept of time. And even though he was in a coma for 18 days, it felt like he was gone for 5 minutes, but he saw everything. He saw so many things that would take months to see.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, the time, God is out, he's omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. He's outside of time. So when you're in that domain, time is irrelevant. Our time, I think, is relegated by the fact of how much time do you have left before you die, essentially. We're here for a limited engagement. So we're constantly looking at this linear time thing going, well, that's how we look at the world. But when you are a spiritual being outside of that, let's say in the third heaven, how relevant is it? It's not. And he said it felt like he saw so much, but it also felt like this condensed amount of time. It was really weird. It was how he explained it was bizarre. So I thought, okay, it's not necessarily time travel per se. Time travel is entertaining to consider. I think if the government would have if anybody could figure out how to do it actually, they would be doing it actively, and they would try to go back and kill the Messiah. I really think that, I don't think that they can. I don't think God can allow it. I think while we are stuck here in this existence, there's a lot of limitations, and God's not going to allow us to go bouncing around at will and messing up what his creation and what he's done. But where we got into the lively debate was, Jesus saw Elijah and Moses at the top of Mount Hermon before he transfigured. So was he got a window. I this is the way I look at it, not so much time traveling. He didn't go moving through that time, but he had a window into the spiritual realm, which knows no time. And that's why everybody was visible. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm not an expert on the subject, but that's kind of where my mind goes. I just think that if the government could do it, I think they're actively trying to. They would, like I said, it's no coincidence that the main character that they're trying to kill in the Terminator is John Connor. His initials are JC.
Mm-hmm.
That's a clue as to what they would do if they could kill Sarah Connor, who is Mary, the mother of Jesus. They would do it.
Yeah.
Just thinking out loud.
Go ahead, JC. Come on, JC. You have those initials too. It's a lot of fun.
All right, you want to get me to give my take?
Well, only if you want. It's like we're having a good time with this stuff.
Yeah, man. So let's see, how did I phrase this? Because I got to be very specific, like I did in the chat. Here we go. I said, I don't believe in the possibility of mortals by their own power and ingenuity moving from one point in time to another. So now I do believe that the government obviously has attempted these things and pursue these things. They would want to do these things. So I probably should add another caveat. I don't believe it's possible without severe consequences. Let's put it that way. So in general, do I believe humans are capable of time travel? No, I don't. I think what we see in the Bible, in those instances of what people refer to as time travel, if you look closely at them, I would characterize them as God initiated, God sourced. So is different categories. Uh, Obviously, God could move someone or whatever. I don't know that we see him doing that in the sense of from one point in time to another. I believe the instances in the Bible, they appear to me to be instances of revelation. So people are shown the future, they're given understanding of future outcomes, they're seeing, they get visions and things like that. But one of the things I think is a problem in the discussion, and again, probably a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but this is just one man's opinion. The problem in the discussion, I people talk about time. I don't agree with Einstein, by the way. So let's just get that out there. I think Einstein's wrong, but that's colored how we talk about this. Um, People use that word time like it's a physical thing, and I guess Einstein with his dimension, time is a dimension. They say space time. I don't believe that. Time is a measure.
Yep.
So time is what you would refer to as an emergent property. It emerges from reality, like temperature. So we take the temperature of something. There's no actual temperature. There's no such thing as a physical thing, some substance or substrate that's temperature. It's a measurement of some other thing. So that's what I see. I think time is. So I think there's some category confusion going on where we're referencing something that it's become this sort of physical destination. So I don't think time is a physical destination, in my opinion, because I believe, and here's the crux of the matter for me. I believe, as the Bible says, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. I think every single person is an irreducible, unique individual who is themselves a progressive becoming, right? So you are a single person, and you are what we call time, right? When you think of, okay, I was 20 years old, now I'm 60 years old, so time elapsed. Time didn't elapse. Reality moved on. You continued to experience reality. We measure that reality with what we call time, but uh, but that's not time. Time didn't do anything. Time didn't move. You moved.
Mhm.
Reality continued to progress, right? So in that sense, um, I think time travel, like if I went back and met me, that does tremendous damage to the concept of personhood. Uh,
Mm.
who is JC? If there are
Yeah.
two instances, two instantations of JC in a singular location, which one is JC? And what if 50-year-old JC disagree with 20-year-old JC? Who's right? So I mean, so there are a lot of problems I have just conceptually. I think it's not a physics, it's not a scientific discussion, it's a metaphysical argument for me. I think there are metaphysical implications that the way God built our reality for us. By the way, I love Doctor Who. Um, the way God built our dimension for us has those particular constraints. Now, as you said, as you mentioned, Jesse, God is outside of time. God is in a different dimension because he's not becoming. We are in a process of becoming. Human beings are in a linear, progressive process of becoming. God is not becoming. He is. And then, say like Moses and Elijah coming from that dimension to this dimension. Moses and Elijah had arrived. They're also done, right? They were no longer becoming at that time. They were both dead in
Mm.
from our perspective. So they didn't time travel. They moved
That's
from
good.
one dimension
Dimensions.
to
Yeah.
another dimension. And so there's heavenly dimension, earthly dimension. And so because of Einstein and this and the scientists who added, who kind of took that term dimension, and then they added these sort of secular idea, in the secular idea of time that they pushed in there so his math would work. Which, by the way, I think is really stupid. The relativity thing has been portrayed like,
Still
you
a
leave
theory.
on a spaceship and
Mhm.
you're young when you come back and everybody's old. That's nonsense. The That's all built on the idea of light, the speed of light, and how we perceive something in a distance. So when you see a star, because the time it took
the light to travel, that star's already gone. So they're actually taking that observational reality and applying it to a physical. Oh, well, you travel and come back. They'll be young, you'll be old. That's not even the same thing. So just because see something out there and it's actually older than what I'm seeing it is because how long that appearance took to reach me. It doesn't mean that that thing's going to be physically old when it arrives and I'm young, or I'm old and it's young when it arrives. That's idiotic. So that sort of framing of the theory of relativity that seeped into popular culture, I think, has really messed up our thinking about this issue of time. And again, that's just my opinion. So I don't take time as a destination. And a person, again, an irreducible uniqueness is a person. So they're not some movable object that can be transported, from this coordinate to that coordinate in their experience of reality, because then that eliminates your individual personhood. You're just some thing that moves back, that can be moved around, manipulated back and forth. So I honestly, okay, this is going to sound crazy. I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I write sci-fi. But on the other hand, I think sci-fi has been used to plant such distorted thinking into our minds about so many things, and we don't even realize, how we came to these conclusions.
Science
Anyway,
is a
that's
weapon.
my take on it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Science
right.
is a weapon, and they continue to do science as a weapon on us right now today. During that whole text thread too, and even Music Lover, she said it too. But I said we are mere humans equipped with a to a more simplified realm, whereas these angels see everything all at once. The fallen angels and the good angels, right? We're not privy to that realm. They're right here, right now. They can see us. We can't see them because we're just humans. All right. What are we? 3-dimensional? Is that it? Is that pretty much about it for us right now? Maybe 4. I don't know if you get some deep stuff, but I don't think that we're allowed to see these things for a reason right now. I think we will be when we step out of time, when we're pulled out of time, when we no longer worry about time and it's more of a dimensional look. We'll get there at some point, I believe, because I think we're destined for that. But I got to tell you,
Here's the thing.
Yep, go ahead.
Here's the thing about that time, the heavenly dimension, earthly dimension thing. When you talk about time, there's no time there because there's nothing to measure, right? Time is a measure.
It's omnipresent. Yeah.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's a measurement of something.
Yep.
So that which we measure here with what we call time is not there. It doesn't exist. There's nothing to measure. So that's why there's no time. You're now in that state of eternality.
Yeah.
That's the nature of angels. That's the nature of God. That's not our nature at this moment. That's a nature of someone who has passed and now that's what we mean by glorified body. People say you're going to get a glorified body. You've now been transformed into, let's say, that a dimensional being, right? A heavenly dimensional being. You've taken on that true form, which is your true form, by the way. So we're earthly dimensional beings, where we are in the reality God constructed for us here. So we're not the same as angels. We're not the same as a saint who has passed on. We have a different nature at this point than they have. So it's not going to be the same. So you can't look at like, the transfiguration. I don't see that as time travel. They travel through time because they lived here and they lived at different times and now they're there at the same time. So therefore that's time travel. That's dimensional travel. They are beings now of another dimension that because of their nature, they can move into this dimension.
Yep.
Right? Just as Jesus came down from his dimension to get here, but you can't climb up into their dimension. Jesus had to tear the veil and will be pulled into that dimension by God himself. And I think that's what we see in those instances in the Bible. God is doing these things. God's the one moving. God's the one revealing. So where I say no is for mortal man, by his own ingenuity, by some process, by some device that he creates, time travel is not a possibility because we don't have that divine nature. If I said this to you, Jesse, if we were to somehow, let's say somebody hijacked, let's say there is an angelic technology that that enabled them to do this, that God said, hey, take this and then you can be able to do whatever. Let's say man hijacked that and they somehow, reverse engineered or just used it or whatever. I think that would do damage to the person using that because they don't have the nature that goes with the technology, right? I think if there is a technology like this, then I believe that it's keyed to these beings of a different dimension, and we wouldn't be able to use it without being fundamentally changed. The nature of whatever mortal is using that would either be destroyed or somehow fundamentally altered.
That's where you start. That's what I was talking about, the fallen angel technology. Fallen angel tech. In Outcast, I want you to talk about the L, the job of the L, the EL Ohim, okay, in a minute. But right there, JC, it seems like there are reports of fallen angel tech that we're trying to recreate here on Earth. Our military, our private military industrial complex, the Raytheons, the Boeings, the Skunk Works, all these things are trying to recreate something that they know of. And I think that they know of these realms. I think they know of these realms.
I think so too.
And I think
it's a Pandora's box.
I do too. Yep. And I think that's going to become a future a narrative that they're going to use very shortly with this, the deception that's coming. And I think that they're trying to steer the public into that deception versus knowing that it's fallen angel tech. Another thing too, you were talking about the sci-fi movies and how they interpret things coming out of Hollywood because they're guided on how they want to present a narrative. And it's funny because with all these movies that are out there, there's a lot of fun, great movies that we've all come to fall in love with and have a great time watching, right? But they're all pushing the same style narrative. All right, they're music lovers. She's got one right here talking about Stargate. I mean, that's a great one. We've all seen Stargate, right? Long SG-1 for a long time ago.
Love it.
There was something last night that we watched. I had no clue. My daughter's like, you guys, we should watch this. It was called The Substance. It's really good for about 3/4 of the movie. Then it goes crazy. It's got a whole mix of stuff like Clockwork Orange and Carrie and Back to the Future. And just, it turns nonsensical at last quarter of the movie. But the first three-quarters of it, you guys, completely insane. She ends up, I'm not going to give it away, but she ends up seeing herself in reality as the old lady she is, and then she sees herself as the 20-year-old she was, and they're both looking at each other. It's crazy the way they get there, but it's even more wild what happens after when they're stuck in the same reality, knowing that it's the same person. The young one's looking at the old one in disgust, and the old one's looking at the young one in jealousy. It's insane, you guys. That's The Substance. Tons of crazy, wild nudity and all this nonsense, but it's just it touches the barrier of time travel and crossing dimensions again. Now we can go back to the book, the old school book from the 1800s, the Baron Trump collection, or those three books written by Ingersoll Lockwood, talking about all the time travel and talks about the future stuff. And look how much of it with Donald Trump in Fifth Avenue and the Golden Tower and the last president, all this stuff, how it's all coming in there. It's like, I don't know if this is prophecy, what is, but it goes back into the same realm. There's another one that I really enjoyed watching. It's called 11/22/63, and it's about the murder of JFK. So fascinating, interesting how they do this time travel stuff in there. But is science, is Hollywood parroting, mimicking, coercing us into looking at something that they are planning to deliver to us here in the future? There's questions everywhere, but I'm having a good time with it. And Outcast, you come in here, answer any of that stuff, and throw in the EL stuff too, will you please?
Well, I of course, I'm not an expert. I'm just a schlub out here pontificating. just sharing some thoughts. And I'm glad that Evan brought up the Baron von Trump thing in the chats. I find that story compelling and interesting and fun to consider. I love, like when we started this conversation earlier today, I was just like, I love the concept of time travel in a way. It's also terrifying to think about on a multitude of levels.
Yep.
But let me just about, you're talking about fallen angel technology and I'm just going to think out loud here just for a second, see if this has value to anybody. So when we look at the book of Enoch and we learn what the fallen angels taught their children, they didn't teach them about technology and or time travel. They taught them the reading of the clouds, the reading of the stars, alchemy, sword making, breastplate making, shield making, sword making, the art of war,
root cutting.
Root cutting. Okay. A lot of new age kind of stuff that new age is rooted in is what the fallen angels gave. Now, just thinking out loud here, please don't crucify me. No pun intended for saying something that you guys, just thinking out loud here.
No apologies.
All right. So if we look at, let's say possibly the gap theory, and we say that pre-Genesis, there was potentially an angelic, for lack of a better word, higher level of being world that was wiped out. And it's not that earth was null and void. It was the earth was made null and void. That's where Genesis starts. So if there was I'm wondering if the stargates that Music Lover's mentioning is from that era where they had that ability. They weren't like us. They were a little different than us. They may be related to us in God's kingdom, but this pre-Genesis world had the use of stargates to come in and out. Fallen angels, when they fell out of favor with God, and they asked God, they asked Enoch, can you ask God to not punish us? And Enoch went to bat for him for whatever reason, and God said, no, I'm sorry, my punishment's coming. They became relegated to this place, and essentially, I think they began a process of being enslaved here, because it says they're in chains beneath the earth for their defiance, and their children they hoped would be just human enough to steal the inheritance of Adam, to quote Timothy Alberino. What were the stargates and those types of things that people are seeing in archaeology that might have the fallen angels would have given that tech to them. Now, that being said, if the elites are able to tap into the spirits of the Nephilim, which are nothing more than demons, okay, that would be their desire to bring technology back to the point that it was pre-flood and pre-Genesis, so that they could now have access to exit where they've been exiled to for their bad behavior. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Also, just for the heck of it, I don't have any agenda by saying this. I think it's important to remind ourselves in the New Testament, angel is a blanket term in the New Testament that generally means a being from the other dimension of God's realm, looking after us and or working with us or helping us, and in some cases posing as the poor. So you need to be aware of who you're entertaining because you could be in the presence of angels, so they can change into a human-like form that is just like us. But at the end of the day, to kind of brush up against what JC was saying, I think is interesting to consider. We are unique in the entire scope of God's creation because we're higher than the animals, but we're a little lower than the angels. We are like, I say this cautiously, I'm not saying we're like Jesus. I'm not saying that, but I mean, in like Jesus, he was fully God and fully man. We are like the angels in some ways, spiritually housed in an animal body, which makes us unique. So whatever this is here, this is very restricted, and it goes back to the fall. It goes back to the fallen angels. They're trapped here. If there was a way out, they would have gotten out. They would have figured out a way to get out by now. So we have to be very aware of how what does the sources we're looking at say? It doesn't. So but at the same time, you look at the Epic of Gilgamesh, and when they found his tomb, they didn't call it a tomb; they called it a resurrection chamber. Yep. Why did they call it a resurrection chamber? In my humble opinion, is because their bodies were preserved in such a way, mummification, and the Egyptians did it too, and the Mayans do it too. Lots of cultures mummified, even there's Chinese mummies. Why did they do that? Because they were waiting for the technology to come full circle so that they could be brought back. Humble opinion. So this is complicated, but I mean, with the Baron von Trump story and other things, is it possible somebody's getting a window into the future? Maybe. But is it actual physical time travel like JC was saying? I think it's pretty tough. And like you said, I love JC. Thank you for saying it. I love that whole becoming and being. Jesus was seeing Elijah and Moses. They were in a state of being. They were already in
Yeah.
the other realm, and Jesus was essentially at the top of Mount Hermon, which is a thin spot in the veil. He was accessing that dimension and seeing them. But does that mean that we can go hopping around? No, because like JC said, I think it's brilliant. I never thought about it like that. What would your current self say to your past self? And what would your current self say to your future self? This is a training ground. Whatever this is, we know what it is, but I like to look at it like we're Navy SEALs in training. God is looking for a refined elite who are willing to die to self and reject their carnal nature to align themselves with the heart and mind of Christ, because that's who he's going to want in the kingdom of heaven with him. He doesn't want to bring back rebels into his kingdom. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but I'm just thinking out loud there. But yeah. Oh, back on the angel thing. So there are cherubim, there's seraphim, there's these different angelic descriptions. Technically, in the Old Testament, angel, if I understand correctly, is a job descriptor, and it means messenger. And it doesn't say in the Bible anywhere that they couldn't procreate. It says that they weren't allowed to. It was not in their job description. Well, why would that be? Well, let's take a look at it for a second. Let's, just for the fun of it, look at Star Wars. Did the Jedi Knights, were they allowed to have wives and children? No. Do you know why? Because that is a way that you become compromised. It's a weakness, because your enemy can exploit you through the threatening of your wife or your children, right? So as a Jedi Knight, okay, so just to transfer it to us, if we are, if we're going to go to the other side, well, where's it going with that? Oh, the angels. So the angels aren't allowed to they're not allowed to have children. That's why it was such a defilement of the role when the Watchers went into took human wives. They left their post for that because they wanted that more than they wanted their assignment. And God said, I'm done with you. You're not worthy, because I'm looking for people who are loyal to me, because they love and trust me and they trust my plan. Yeah. You guys are thinking you can do this better on your own. I'm all over the place. Just throwing some thoughts out there, Jesse.
That's right. Well, JC, before I throw it back to you, Outcast, I feel the same way. The way JC set that up about the transfiguration there. Instead of time travel, I'm thinking what we're seeing, what that was, maybe we should call it interdimensional jumping, because that's more of this reality that I'm understanding it now, is that they're just jumping into different dimensions that we still are not privy to see. We will be later. So to call it time travel, I'm not sure who came up with that, but it's get the intriguing mind, like myself and you guys are very interested in that stuff. But now I'm thinking more interdimensional, jumping into these dimensions. JC, we're just having a good time with this. What are your thoughts?
Yep. Yeah, I would say dimensional travel is what we're seeing there. Not necessarily, not time travel in a sort of sense we usually think about, with sci-fi and that sort of stuff, where somebody's leaving one time into another time. So,
Back to
I think
the future,
it's a different
stuff like that.
Different sort of, it's a different sort of thing going on. It's definitely a traveling, but not a time travel. I think it's dimensional traveling for sure. And I think and again, a lot of this is just one man's opinion, right? I'm no expert either, but I think a lot of stuff we see somehow, some way, people tap into the revelation stream, for lack of a better term. I know we've talked about this before, the precognitive dreams. I have that happen to me, and I often think, like, what is your spirit or your mind sort of dipping a toe into to enable you to receive that. And so I think that that's what's happening to a lot of folk, not that in particular, but I think they're tapping into, not necessarily travel, I traveled here and so I know these things and I'm come back and I'm telling them. I think somehow they're tapping into that knowing, whatever is happening there. There's definitely, that's always been fascinating to me, by the way. There's definitely some kind of, I like Outcast use the term veil. It's almost like there's a thinness in the veil, whatever that is. I would think of it like this: if we're thinking in dimensional terms, that if the heavenly dimension is a dimension of fullness, right? You even see that in the scripture talking about the fullness of knowledge. Then somehow, in some way that we can't comprehend, there is that knowledge available, right? The knowing of how things unfold. And it's almost like somehow maybe there's a thinness in the dimensional veil at times. Something happens and you either penetrate that uh, spiritually, or it penetrates you in a sense. It seeps into you. So I've always thought that about the precognitive dreams and that same phenomenon. And I think that's probably what's going on. Like the Trump book, the Baron Trump, which is crazy. But things like that, I think people tap into whatever that is and catch a glimpse of things.
Hmm. Yeah, I do too. It's just very fascinating. And talking about all this, sci-fi stuff and everything, should we take a look at your Substack? You have the Julian Fogg stuff. I mean, what do you think? Should we take a look at some of this?
Go for it.
Before we do, we have Sandra over here on YouTube says, we live in a society where social media, cell phones, TV, news is meant to keep us distracted, hence our lower vibrational energy from truth, peace, love, and God. Yeah. So, Amen. But that's on purpose. That is another weapon formed against us, okay, down here. Us humans are look, we like all this silly stuff. We don't really know exactly the way that these smart, intelligent, ancient angels know everything. We're silly. Look at us wearing all these flannels and stuff. All right, let's look here. Let's go over here. So this is Julian Fogg. This is your Substack right here. This is at JC Hall, right? Or the Cynical Patriot. The Cynical Patriot Substack, and you have all these articles, and this is what you've been writing, and this is awesome. Look at this, Julian Fogg, which is a character. I started reading some of this stuff a while back when you first started sending it to us, and remember I was championing Julian Fogg. I was like, I want more Julian Fogg stuff. You guys, I want to know what he's doing next. It's so good. So give us a little bit of this. What is this all about that we're looking at on the screen here?
I started a serial, I guess you'd call it. I tried to get it about 12 little episodes, sort of short stories. They kind of got longer as I went along. So I'm on the last one. I have the last one written. I'm trying to wrap up the story. I've had the last one written for months, and I haven't been able to do the final edit and get it up there. I wrote a couple different ones in the meantime. I don't know if you can look at the top menu. If you look at the very top, you'll see, home, fortunate misadventure, scripture and meaning, public square, more stories. So I write different stuff. It's not always sci-fi or fantasy or whatever.
Yeah. Which one should I click on? There's a lot up here.
Click on more stories. I think that's where. Okay, no, not in there. All right, go back to, I don't know, public square. If you click on public square, I think you'll see, scroll down. So I do write from time to time.
This is cool.
Something, I don't know, somebody may consider them somewhat political, but if I write on anything that is in the realm of politics, it's more about ideas, right? It's about the big principles. Not so much about politicians and all that sort of stuff.
Look at that one.
I do. Yes. Yeah. That one struck me. That one hit me one day. I was, some of my favorite movies, by the way. I love all three of those movies, but it was just interesting to me. It struck me at how they all came out really right around the same time. And I thought, man, was somebody trying to get a message out to us? Was somebody trying to send us a warning? Because now I know something about movie making and how scripts are floated around. People try to float their scripts around, and all of these producers steal the stories, and they'll make the movie before the guy gets anything from it. And so somehow there was a message floating around 1999, and all three of these movies came out, and they were all about a managed reality, that what you think is real is not real. Somebody else is in control. Somebody's showing you what they want you to know, what they want you to see. And all of these contain that message. They're great.
This is awesome, you guys. You guys need to look at this. This is for movie fans who question their reality. Here's the meme, and it's from Dark City, The 13th Floor, and The Matrix. It says, "Are we living in a hidden simulation?" Prophetic warnings from 1999. This is really cool. This looks awesome. And there's your article down underneath it, talking about living inside, like you said, the fabricated reality curated by unseen powers. Outcast, look at this. I got to turn
Sure
this
feels
music
like
off.
it.
Yeah.
Sure feels like it. Yep.
Now, the 13th Floor, I have not seen. Everything, the Dark City and the Matrix, I've seen those. But now you got me turned on to something here, JC. So we're going to have to check that one out, too. Dang.
It's a good one. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, I want you guys to go check it out there. It's The Cynical Patriot on Substack. I have his, everything is right here in the description of the show. So you guys can go look at that. It's awesome. Jack Pine 7 says, I saw The 13th Floor years ago. Oh, this is so good. Might have to watch that again. So this is exciting stuff.
I wrote one story. I got to get it up there where people can find it, but I did one. So I'm sure you guys remember Philip K. Dick, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Do Android Stream with Electric Sheep.
Yeah. Right. Which was Blade Runner. So that's the original book that they made Blade Runner out of. So Minority Report was one of his.
Yeah.
Lots of movies that they made that were a lot of his books. Now, of course, in our realm, he's well known for the presentation he gave in France. I forget the conference it was called, but he forwarded the idea of we're living in a simulation and all this sort of CIA stuff was going on. And then apparently they took him out and raided his house and all kind of craziness. But anyway, there's a bunch of short stories that he wrote. I love his writing. And there was one called The Eyes Have It. And that inspired me to write a similar story, a story with a similar theme, and called The Time Makers. And so I have a short story on there called The Time Makers. And you guys might enjoy that. And I'll try to get it where it can be found easily on the site.
All right. Well, that was really cool. I like that stuff.
The Time Makers plot. Look for that one. Oh, by the way, so the one you clicked on that said Public Square.
Yeah.
I wrote one about an AI takeover as well. So that one might be interesting for your audience to read. Let's see. Yeah, Global Stability, Ananke's Tale.
Let's see look at that. Outcast. Dang. All right, hang on a second. I got to scroll through this. This looks really good. Hey, let's get that music back here because it's scary. So what this is, Global Stability, Ananke. That sounds almost like Anunnaki, but it's Ananke. Okay.
I chose that name on purpose. Yeah.
Ananke, never blinded, never slept, and never made mistakes. It's humanity's masterpiece, the global optimizer. It manages power grids, food distribution, transportation logistics, emergency response, and climate stabilization. After the first decades of wrestling with famine, war, and political paralysis, Ananke became a welcome stabilizing force in a fractured world. Humans still occupied positions of leadership, but Ananke was the unseen custodian of humanity, preventing fuel shortages, failing crops, unstable power demands long before they became crises. Wow. Then it goes into talking about the first glitch. And so sounds like a really good story here. A contamination problem, the task force, the breach. You have a movie here, Outcast. Look at this.
Yeah,
JC's got a movie script right here. 20 years later, look at your time traveling already.
I have a hunch I'd love to see all these as a movie, every single one of them.
Me too. Oh my gosh. All right. So you guys can find all this underneath the Public Square tab at the Substack Cynical Patriot. Dang, I like that. Look at that. He's out there catching fish and there's a drone looking at him. Oh, Outcast. Well, listen, what else do you have left for the people? Any last places that you want the people to see or go to or visit? I have the descriptions down here. Your links are here in the description of the show. Wow, look at that. It's already 9:00. How'd that happen, you guys? Holy smokes! All
Time,
right,
time flies when you're having fun.
Time travels when we're having fun. All right, we're dimensionally jumping here. So, Outcast, give JC Hall, some final thoughts before he's got to head out.
God, JC, God bless you, brother. We've already gushed on you quite a bit. I just want to say, thank you for being you. You're a person that is true to self and true to God. Everybody who knows you is inspired by your strength and your focus on truth and your focus on what is important in life. You've blessed everybody that's listened tonight, knowing that it's okay to decouple from the matrix and what it has to say, to focus on self and family and God. This has been such an important message to everybody here. We really love you and appreciate you, brother. And we thank you for being obedient and coming on when we asked you to come on. Thank you. And we look forward to having you on again soon too.
Glad to be here. Yeah, it's been good. I can tell you life is good, man. Life is good.
That's awesome. And we were monitoring heavy when you were going through the Hurricane Milton down there, and we were on with you that night, remember? And you guys were, batting down the hatches because it was coming. The wind was coming in. It was nighttime, and you guys ended up getting some of that rain. And you redid the floor. Remember, he showed us all the pictures of the backyard that he's redone. So you've done a lot of stuff, brother. So it was great to talk with you live again, and make sure you tell Chris Ann we said hi. And listen, July's coming up, 250 years of this country. If she would carve out a little time, I'd like to talk to her about that too.
Dude, I totally forgot. So June 12th, man, we're out of here. We're leaving for Oxford for 9 weeks. I forgot all about
You're going
that.
over there? What are you doing? Rub it in their face a little bit or what?
Yeah. So attorney Chris Ann Hall, my wife, got accepted into the Oxford Law summer program. So she's going to be studying in Oxford. I don't know if she's going to have the guy with the big boob attachment as a professor, but I don't know if you've seen that.
I did. I seen that guy. That was insane.
She's going to be studying at Oxford. We'll be there 9 weeks starting June 12th. Going to be amazing, man. Really excited about that.
9 weeks.
I spent a lot of time. 9 weeks. I spent a lot of time in Scotland, and she hasn't been there, so I'm looking forward. We're gonna do a day trip to Scotland. Definitely looking forward to that.
Have you been to Scotland yourself, JC?
I have. Yeah, I spent time when I was in the Navy. We used to. I rode subs in the Navy, and a lot. We pull into the bases in Scotland. So
awesome. Well, we have an episode on here with Gary Wayne. And Outcast wanted to know about all this stuff in Scotland. Outcast has been to Scotland. That's my grandpa's from Scotland. And Outcast, he was, we're Scotland.
I got married.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah. So we want to,
beautiful.
I've never been, but I want to go sometime. But man, we need to talk after this and get some Scotland knowledge on the down low is what I'm saying. So that's awesome. Music Lover says, oh, wow. Congrats to Chris Ann. That's great. I would love to get to talk to her before you guys head on out, but you guys are leaving soon. If that's June for 9 weeks, you're going to be over there for the 250th anniversary, the celebration over here.
Yeah. We had some stuff going on with people and different events. So I don't know. She told somebody she could fly back for a certain event, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I doubt we're going to be back. I think we'll probably celebrate it over there. I think it'd be really interesting to be there at that time. I mean, we'll be sort of where it all started.
Yeah.
The connections to all that. So I think it'll be interesting.
I like it. Yeah, I really enjoy it. That's awesome. Well, listen, again, JC, thanks for coming back again. You guys check him out at The Cynical Patriot over on Substack. Get in there, read that, man. I want to go check all that stuff out. So that was awesome, JC. Thanks for coming back, brother. And again, tell Chris Ann we said hi, and enjoy Scotland. Man, I want to go now. All right. Well, listen, we'll light some fireworks for you. Okay, how's that?
All right, man. Appreciate you guys.
Okay. Good night, JC. Stay dangerous, brother.
God bless, brother.
We'll see you. Awesome, Outcast. Look at that. Another showing. That was December of 2024 last time JC was on with us. But I understand it now. I understand now. And there's a good reason. I enjoy that. It was so good. Yeah. So, all right. Any thoughts you have? You're seeing the chat. The people are rolling the chat. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So, Music Lover says, having a good night. And good night, JC, and all these things. So, it's 9:05, Outcast. We have the chance to end right now, or we can wrap up a couple little things if we wanted to. It's up to you.
It's up to you. It's your show, buddy. You tell me.
It's your show, too. What are you talking about? All right, so here's what we did. For this book, so we were just talking about the Time Traveler book. What I'm going to do, you guys, and you'll see it probably, I don't know, tomorrow or maybe later tonight, but I am putting this book right here. Hang on. Yes, this book right there. Dang it. JC, what are you doing here? Right here, Outcast. So this book right here, The Time Travelers of the Bible by Gary Stearman. I'm putting it down here as a show link as another affiliate item. So we have 2 affiliate items right there. You can see it, The Time Travelers of the Bible, How Ancient Prophets Shattered the Time Barrier. So if you guys want to click that, the link will be there. Use our link for it. That way we get the the affiliate sales from that. So that's going to be in there every time. Next time tonight I'll add it in there. But that's awesome. What else we have? Oh, the hantavirus. I want to talk about that hantavirus scam.
Okay.
All right. So let me bring this music down.
Okay. All right.
What's your thoughts? What are you thinking?
Oh man, it's monkeypox, it's dengue fever, it's just a repeat, and it's so dumb. And I saw somebody driving down the expressway the other day by themselves with an N95 mask on. I'm just like, seriously, you just awesome. Can't wait to do, COVID 2, the electric boogaloo. You're all excited. Get out of here. I think most people are not in the mood, and they're not going to get any traction with this. But boy, they're going to give it a go. They're going to try, definitely.
Oh yeah, they're going to have a good time with it, and we're going to laugh at them, right? So, so I typed it in. I said, "What is the Hanta? What does that mean?" Okay, Hanta, H-A-N-T, H-A-N-T-A. In Israeli Hebrew slang, Hanta used to mean these things right here: nonsense, BS, a scam or fraud, fake, bogus, empty talk. It's hilarious. Basically a dismissive slang. Someone might say, now here's what somebody might say, and I'll probably end up saying this tomorrow and the next day. That story is Hanta. That story is bogus. Don't sell me Hanta. I think I've heard that before. Don't sell me that Hanta. Don't feed me any nonsense. That's what that means, Outcast. Don't feed me any Hanta. So
the nonsense virus.
Exactly. The bogus virus. Oh,
they're messing with us. They got to be messing with us. They got to be messing with us.
The pronunciation often uses guttural Hebrew in the N sound, closer to junta. So, or junta. That's how you got to say it. Don't sell me that junta. What?
Evan says, I've been seeing so many people with wearing masks already. I think people just love the fear at this point. Fear can be an idol in people's minds. If you don't have God, you'll find something to fixate on, and fear can be one of them. That makes sense to me. It really does. There's like, as we got the new thing, I can't wait, because a lot of people, especially the godless people out there, they don't like life. It's hard to have joy in life without God. So you're going to go, I need a break. I need another 3-month vacation. I'll take some hantavirus. Some of these people, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'll sign up for the fear event. Jeez.
Oh, that's really good. What I need to do,
but I do know a lot of people feel like, I was talking to somebody. Oh,
go ahead. I'm working on something. Go ahead.
No, I was talking to somebody recently, and they were saying, listen, they weren't particularly awake, but they were like, we cannot do another COVID, but we will not participate. We almost didn't make it. Our family almost lost everything in that. I think there's a lot of people out there that are just not interested in what they're selling.
Same.
But 2030 approaches, and they're going to keep flinging all these psyops on us to try to find one that sticks.
What we need to do when we start seeing people out there wearing masks again, I'm going to show you a meme. All right, this meme right here, and this is what the meme I want you to see. Do you see that, Outcast? Is it there yet?
Yeah.
How to treat someone that falls for it again. So you point at them and you laugh with your buddies. Okay, for the next engineer crisis just around the corner, you point at them and you laugh at them and you put your hands around and you hug and you say, "We're not doing it again." That is crazy. Do you remember, Outcast, in 2021 when I made that meme that went completely viral
Yes.
of my face? All right. I remember that, and I was going through some stuff earlier today, and I found it, and I'm going to bring it up, you guys. So this thing went so viral. It's insane. I don't know if any of you guys will remember it. That's over here. Look at this. So here, if you allow the government to break the law for an emergency, they will create emergencies to break the law.
Amen. That's so true.
So that was in 2021 in the summer, and I'm standing in my landscape trailer right there when I took that picture. And what happened was somebody, see my face right next to it, somebody cut that out of it and just took my whiteboard and my markers, and they took it and put it all over the place. And that thing went viral for months and months and months. It got millions of views. I think JC had his fingers on that. And I think he might have been one of the ones that put it into motion. Oh, it's crazy. So but at the time I didn't really know much about putting my logos and all the stuff on everything. So it was not there. So they were able to cut it out, and we didn't get any, any, what do you call it? Any play from this, but it's okay because the message got around. But if you guys see that out there somewhere, you know where it came from. That I did that. And I've probably got 50 or 60 other ones that I've done and that are, I don't know, they're floating around out there too.
So JC saying that the hantavirus was a bioweapon developed in the Korean War. So it has some real legs to it, whatever it is. But at the same time, is it going to spread like they want to? I don't know. Also, Evan, I like that he says, let me see what he said. Where is it? It's all white collar people that want to work from home, that want to buy into it. I think he's probably right about that.
Oh, right there. Yeah. It's all the white people that's dying to work remotely again. Actually, yeah, because you get a lot of work done around the house and you can go do whatever you want. And as long as the mouse is moving the button around there. All right. So let's go to, I'm looking to see if I had one more. Oh, I had this, and this will be the last one. So we got the goofy one. We have the the emergency meme. Yep. All right. So, okay. I want you to explain real quickly the Greater Israel Project, because I was just thinking of something here that I mentioned to you earlier today. So just give me a real quick snapshot of what the Greater Israel Project is.
Well, the main clue for the Greater Israel Project is a patch that the IDF has been wearing, and it shows a map that is not the sliver of what is that we know as Israel now. It is an expanded map with the Star of David on it, and it seems to encompass a large part of Lebanon, parts of Iran, large swaths of the Middle East. I have my own fun theory on why they want all that land. I think it's linked to King Solomon's treasure that's buried throughout the Middle East, but that's just one theory. But yeah, the Greater Israel plan is that they don't want to be locked into this little sliver the size of New Jersey anymore. They want to expand out and they want to take over what they can. Hence why they've destroyed and completely obliterated Gaza, and they have plans for Gaza. They've also, used us as their muscle to go after Libya and who else? Syria, Libya, and Saddam Hussein in Iraq. And now we're looking at Iran and Turkey as being mentioned, and now Lebanon. So you can see that there's this a Zionist agenda. I don't want to lump all Jewish people in together on this, but the people who are Zionists, which is essentially the Jewish version of white supremacists, I guess, is what you could liken it to, which means at all costs, there's nothing that will stop us. We'll obliterate anything in our path to get what we want, is what Zionism is. And
I would say bloodline supremacist.
Yes, or so they believe, which is interesting because, as you and I have said, they are not the descendants of Shem that they claim to be. They are the descendants of Japheth. Japheth's grandson's name was Ashkenaz. These are Ashkenazi Jews that inhabit the majority of Israel. We're talking 95%. Right. So even if even if you were the type of Christian to say that Christ's message didn't matter for some reason, and we're going to go back to the old covenant of bloodlines, they're not even the bloodline people of Israel. So it's the whole thing is just comical. We're being fed lies on every angle, including this one. And evangelical Christians who buy into this, I'm sorry, you're so wrong in this. And Christ, if he comes back tomorrow, do you think he's going to pat you on the backs for supporting anything genocidal? Not to say that both sides aren't genocidal in their own right. They're two bloodthirsty religions that are hell-bent on conquest and destruction, and I'm supposed to pick a side. not doing it. I'm on Jesus' side. That's it. You guys can figure it out over there. I'll pray for you, but don't suck me into this conflict. But even whatever I think of Islam, I don't condone children being massacred over, especially when they're trying to pursue food.
Yeah.
That has been laid out for them like a trap. I mean, there's so many ways to look at this. It's disgusting. But anyways, I'm sorry, I'm off a tangent. So back to your theory. What's your theory on the Greater Israel Project?
Well, besides that, we've known, and I played this clip on here. I think it's Lieutenant Colonel. Oh man, I forgot his name. I can probably find it. But talking about how we are going to go in the next 5 years, and we're going to destroy these 7 countries in the next 5 years. Remember that? He's talking to President Bush. I think it was 2003. And I played this on the video or on the podcast a bunch, and Iran was one of them, along with Syria, Libya, I believe Iraq, and there was another one. I don't remember them, but my thought is this, because none of those countries had a central bank. Who owns the central banks? The people, what you were just talking about. Okay, Iran does not have a central bank right now. So my thought was that what I asked you, I said, hey, could Iran be just a distraction for us, for Israel, to go over and wage war on Lebanon, and the media being complicitly quiet about it, not letting us know? We're only getting information from very small outlets, people that are there, people who have family. I know a guy, his family, he came from there, and his family, he still has family there. But there has been just villages wiped out in the last few weeks. Gone. And it's the patch that's on their military logo is starting to fill up to look like that final product of the Greater Israel Project. What are we looking at here? Just keep your eyes on it, because the media is not going to tell you. The media is not going to tell you. They're going to put distraction here, UAPs here, declassified this, Epstein that. I mean, Iran this, gas prices. I mean, I just paid over $250 in fuel today, Outcast, for my diesel and for all my gas. That's every Monday now. How you like them apples?
Ouch, that's painful.
Yeah, brother. Yes, I know.
Yeah, and I said this on the show probably a couple times before. I'm going to keep saying it for a while because I think it has relevance somehow. My whole adult life, I have heard that Lebanon is the perfect example of interfaith harmony, that Jews, Muslims, and Christians have lived side by side for millennia in that area, and they get along rather well. And there's a nice balance of power there in that regard. Yep. And now we're watching it being leveled, and churches are being targeted. And man, if you can't see the sinister nature of what Israel's doing here, I mean, I haven't heard any justification for why they're doing this. Was Lebanon encroaching on their territory? Did Lebanon do something to them? No, they just want it. They're just going to take it. Yep. And it's what it reminds me of a little bit. It reminds me of how Russia got antagonized into a war with Ukraine. They started moving those boundaries and saying, we're going to go here and we're going to go here. And Russia said, enough is enough.
Yeah, well, right? They kept overturning or going against the Mix 2 agreement. So finally, you said, they're like, enough of that crap. We made deals with you guys, and you guys keep stepping over the borders. Stop it. Stop it now.
It's like a version of crisis reaction solution. You back a dog into a cage, and you keep poking at it and making it go further into the cage, but there's no place else to go. And then when the dog snips at the stick, it goes, argh. Then they go, see, I told you it was aggressive.
Yep, he's vicious. Yeah, he's vicious. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
It's crazy. So, all right, brother, listen, I think we did some pretty good work tonight, especially with JC here on the show. And so good to have him back in the mix a little bit here. We should probably get some final thoughts from you and get this thing rolling out. I do want to make mention of this whole thing that came out. Just everybody's been talking about in the media going nuts about the declassified UAP alien disclosure and all this stuff. They're going to tell you that there's some alien stuff and all that stuff. I want you to know, I think most people here already know this stuff, that meeting, it was put together. It was probably something really good. We know quite a few of the different players that were in there, Outcast, that were at that meeting. It has nothing to do with us, just knowledge that we know. That's if you watch the confessionals or listen to that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. But, be careful if the media starts telling you about these aliens coming in from outer space and all this stuff. Okay. Look to the Bible. You said it before earlier in the show, talking about these demons. All right. Look for the deception when the media comes to tell you, because this group of pastors that got together and had this meeting, they're trying to make you guys aware. They're trying to make churches aware, so that when the time comes, the flock does not get confused and get deceived. Tony's trying to save the flocks. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, what's a red flag to me a little bit though is, since when does the U.S. government, the Pentagon, on any capacity, get together with pastors? That in itself is kind of strange and red flaggy to me. Whatever that means, I don't know. You come up with your own conclusion, but I just find that highly suspect. Also, this stuff that came out, none of it has turned out to be anything new that we haven't seen before. And I was, listening to Tony Merkel on the confessionals, and he said his personal opinion was that like 90 to 95% of these TikTok items that we're seeing, that's military tech. That is not other dimensional or they're not UFOs.
Right. Yeah.
From another planet.
And just to look into that, you guys can go look up the TR-3B. That's that triangle craft. That's military stuff. They've been, running that thing around for quite a few years, and people see it, and it freaks them out because they see a triangle flying around up there. It's all black, has 3 lights on the corners, and just look it up, the TR-3B. It's crazy. But think about the Blackbird. What is it? The Blackbird. Yeah, think about the Blackbird that came out. I think that was built and completed in 1967. We didn't know anything about it until the B-52s were decommissioned. So, I mean, that thing's been around for a long time. It's all sleek. What's the other craft that we have? Those all black ones with the angled sides and all that stuff to avoid radar. All that stuff's old. Once we know about it, it's already old. Okay. It's the things that we don't know about right now that's happening, that we won't know anything about for quite a while. And if they're recreating fallen angel tech that they know of, Enochian technology is what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We have a good time coming. Yeah.
Musical Lover says the conversation with the pastors occurred several months ago, and it was trying to bring them up to speed with the deception so that they're not flustered when people are asking if aliens are demons.
Right. They want to know how to handle that question. Oh, sorry.
The American church is so sleepy to how supernatural the Bible is. Most seminary training is theoretical, and they have to learn everything else as they go. I think that's absolutely true. So Music, are you saying that this was a white hat operation to make sure that these pastors had the correct answers, that aliens are demons? Is that what this meeting was informing them? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what I'm saying, Outcast. Yes, that it is. And it wasn't the white hats. It's Tony Merkel doing it. He's telling them that. He's the one that arranged all this. That second meeting that was in summer when he rented that home, that was him. Yeah, he put this together. Now, the government doesn't want us knowing that. Even right there, JZ, he just texts us, says, this gives them cover. They can blame it on the aliens, right? Because they don't want you to know where this is actually coming from. Because if you do, think about it. If we all know as a society, as a public, know where these things are coming from, and it's not aliens, they're just trying to confuse us on that. The grays and all that stuff. These are all part of that whole fallen angel, Nephilim demon stuff. Okay. But if they can get you because they can lead you down the path, meaning that these people are from space, they're here to save us. God's not going to save you. Jesus is not saving you. He's just a man that was, in the past. Okay. That's how they want this to go. So what side do you think they're on? These government types and these official types. They're not on the side of light. They're not on the side of us. They're on the side of deception.
Yeah. And also too, they're going to need a cover if they're, actually that'll lead into my final comments too. They have to, if there's a pre-tribulation rapture, if we are raptured up, what are they, who's left? How are they going to handle this with who's left? They're going to tell them the aliens took them, not that we were, that the Christians left.
Right.
Also, too, yeah, I saw this. Evan said that he's had an experience with the Black Triangle. You know who else did? Former guest, neighbor Bob.
Okay, we need to have conversations with these two guys if we can, for later time. So let's try to hook that up because I want to hear about these, the TR3Bs. These things are crazy.
Neighbor Bob was chased home by one. He was in a truck up in Lexington, Michigan, which there is a military base up there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it chased him all the way home and hovered over his house. And he heard a thud on his roof, and he literally almost crapped himself and ran out the door in his car and took off. I think he said he left his dog at home.
You know
to
who
fend
else
off
saw,
the aliens.
Yeah, you know who else saw something similar to that? It was John B. Wells from Caravan to Midnight. I heard him talking about this, and he saw one. He was in Texas, and he saw one out of the corner of his eye, and he ran to the back of the house, the patio, looked out, and he saw the corner of it taken off. Same thing. Wow. So I'm telling you, these TR3Bs, they've been here. They've been here for a long time. I should probably just pull one up real quick. TR3B, and the Black Manta is what it is. And here it is right here. Look at that. Come on. There we go. Wrong one. Hang on. That's it right there. The TR3B. The TR3B Black Manta is a reputed top secret triangular shaped surveillance aircraft allegedly developed by U.S. military, often dubbed the Black Project. Sightings since the 1990s describe a large silent craft featuring bright lights at its corners and a central pulsating light capable of hovering and rapid high-speed movement. Yeah, from what I've noticed is these things, they are quiet, they're giant, and they can actually sit in place, and you don't hear them. And they're probably using that. Remember, last week we talked about the anti-gravitical machines. Remember all that stuff?
Yep.
And again, that's coming from the fallen angel tech that they probably reverse engineered. I mean, look at this Black Manta. And you tell me now. You know what's funny is I've seen these things on some of those. What are those shows? Those Ancient Aliens and all this stuff. And they see these and they make a big deal out of them because they don't realize they're just a military craft. So they go on and they see these things and they put them on TV and say, look at this, UAP that we found and all this stuff. And I'm yelling at the TV like, that's a 3B, you guys. So I don't know.
Yep.
All right. We probably yapped enough. Been yapping all night, Outcast, is what I'm saying. So you got any final, let's get some final stuff from you.
I'm gonna rapid fire hit some scriptures here that would indicate a pre-tribulation rapture. And what we could be looking at here is that if the church is raptured up, how is the government going to explain to those left behind what happened? They're going to blame aliens, and that will help them to secure the souls and the minds and the hearts of who is left behind so that they don't withstand till the end so that they can enter the kingdom of heaven. So here's one for you to consider. 1 Thessalonians 4:16 and 17. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. Revelation 4:1. After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven, and the voice I had first heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, "Come up here, I will show you what must take place after this." Revelation, let me see, I'm going to skip that one. 1 Corinthians 15:51 through and 52. Listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we will be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. 1 Thessalonians 5:9. For God did not appoint us to suffer wrath, but to receive salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ. So the wrath would be the judgment. Revelation 3:10. Since you have kept my command to endure patiently, I will also keep you from the hour of trial that is going to come on the whole world to test the inhabitants of the earth. That can be interpreted a couple ways. Luke 21:36. Be always on the watch and pray that you may be able to escape all that is about to happen and that you may be able to stand before the Son of Man. I can keep going here. Matthew 24:40 and 41. 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding with a hand mill. One will be taken and the other left. I could probably go on, but you get the gist. There are plenty of scriptures to indicate that there could be a pre-tribulation rapture, and that's what the Great Deception, as L.A. Marzulli likes to call it, will be about. It will be about trying to convince those who are left behind what the narrative is so that they can secure that they do not make it into heaven by enduring all the trials. For those of us who are born again in the blood of Christ, it's hard to imagine a God that would bless us through our whole lives, communicate to us, speak to us in those amazing ways that he does, and guide us through each every day, gaining our trust and our love, and then what? He's going to kill us or make us suffer. I'm not trying to say that suffering is a part of being a Christian, because it definitely is, but there's definitely scripture to indicate that there is a pre-tribulation rapture. I'm not saying I know. I don't know. I'm willing to listen to both sides, just quoting some scripture that caught my attention recently.
Awesome, brother. Well, I like that breakdown. That was really good and very poignant to what we're talking about tonight. It's crazy.
Yeah. I kind of planned on doing that, but I didn't know it was going to tie in like that. That's awesome.
Wow,
That's got God's providence there.
And you mentioned the name L.A. Marzulli. Guess he's our guest next week. L.A. Marzulli.
No way.
Yeah.
Really? That's funny. I quoted him. That's great.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how this stuff works out. So yeah, we're going to be getting some more of this alien demon talk with him next week. And there's a lot of new stuff that he's come across. I was talking to him, I don't know, last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And he's all about getting, he's always digging deep into these kind of things. So, we're going to be talking to L.A. Marzulli next week, you guys. It's going to be a good time. We have Scott Mitchell coming up in a few weeks. We have, who else did I tell you? She's coming back on with us. Rats. Yeah, it's a she, and I forgot who it was.
But you said you got Scott Mitchell on the books again, too.
Yeah, L.A. Marzulli, Scott. There's some other people. I've been working the emails lately, so getting a lot of feedback from people. Yeah. So there's more coming. There's more in the works. I did send an email the other day to Wes Germer from Sasquatch Chronicles. Come on, Wes. Yes,
what? Did you get a hold of him?
Not yet. I come on, Wes. If you're listening, I want you to get on the show. We're gonna have a good time with that. So, yes. Music Lover says, "Oh my God, oh my stars, I'm gonna fangirl so hard." Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh, Sasquatch Chronicles. I want him on here so bad to talk to him. He's got a lot of good stuff. So, all right, brother. Listen, we had a great time tonight. All right, is what I'm saying. So, I just want to thank our supporters tonight. We have Wyatt. He's a brand new supporter over on Subscribestar. Wyatt. What was it? Thornton? Wyatt Thornton. Thank you so much, brother. Yes. For being there and doing that. If you guys want to consider being a sponsor of the show, you guys can do that too if the situation fits. If not, you can tell your mom and dad and everybody else around us that we're over here having a great time with people like JC and LA and Scott Mitchell and all these people. We're having a great time over here with everybody. So I want to say thank you to JC Hall tonight for coming in. Had an excellent time with you. Go check him out. All the links for his the Cynical Patriot and his landscaping business down in Florida. The links are right down there, as well as our affiliate links. Yes, we are adding this Time Travelers of the Bible book. Wait till it's there, and you can use that link for us. And you guys will the life straw too, for emergency water. Awesome. So please leave us a 5-star rating and review, you guys, wherever you listen, like iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, wherever you're going to be listening on the audio later. So just wanted to say a big thank you to you, Outcast, for bringing the heat. Had a good time. Ms. Melody, Music Lover, Jack Pine, Trusty Turnip over on pill.net. Thank you guys so much as our live chat moderators. I'm going to release a scratching right now over on pill.net. And listen, you guys, do not be threatened by the mainstream media fear campaigns. Rescue those in darkness around you. Do not comply with unjust laws, mandates, or regulations. And trust your gut always, because that is God talking to you, is what I'm saying. Remember, we are live here every Monday night, 7 p.m. till around 9-ish. So stay dangerous, and God bless, brothers and sisters. Remember, Christ is King.